So my guests today are Andy Dick, Jim Jefferies, and Rick Overton. You know these guys from showbiz.
Hello.
Hello.
We have two aristocrats on the podcast.
I'm not on. I don't think. Am I on?
I love that cartoon.
Am I? I don't know if I am.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I can't hear you.
Can everybody hear Jim? Jim Jefferies, ladies and gentlemen.
I can hear myself. That'll be fine.
Yeah, let's get his headphone. Anyway, the aristocrats, Andy Dick and Rick Overton. A little bit
Yes.
of. I think.
We were both on that.
I was never asked to do that, and I knew Paul for many months before, and it never happened. So
Right.
Very upset with that.
It was all timing, you know. Or did we not? We didn't shoot you and then lose it.
No.
Did we?
I didn't
Yeah.
do the aristocrats, no.
There was somebody over in Britain that we shot, and then it wasn't working. It didn't work at all. The footage was fucked up, and it wasn't you.
It wasn't me. No, it wasn't me.
Maybe it was Bernsey.
It could have been Brendan.
What?
It was Brendan, and
Was
they
it
shot him in
Eddie?
a car, and the audio was fucked, I think, or something. Yeah, we couldn't do anything with it. So, Rick, how are you?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Thanks for having me on. Even though I'm not technically an atheist, I appreciate you having me on the show.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
What are you?
What am I?
No.
Oh, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Before we get going, I want to talk about a couple of rules that we have on the show. As director Paul Provenza said when filming The Aristocrats, which is still available on DVD and download from Netflix, by the way, you can plug anything you want on the show as long as you make it subtle. And rule number 2, if you're a listener who's ever offended, get a sledgehammer, destroy your computer now. This show has no restrictions on language or content and certainly has nothing for you, you insipid cunt. Now, anyway, gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's talk about what we believed. Kicking it right off. Jim, you were talking to Rick. Go ahead and ask him.
What are you?
Well, I don't think any book remotely covers it. I don't think any building with a certain shaped stick on top of the roof has it. But I think that there's an intelligence formatting certain things. And that chaos just looks like chaos when you're too close. It's like when you're too close to an elephant, all you see is gray wrinkles and a hair sticking out. When you back away and back away, which is just backing away and backing away is what I call curiosity.
Okay.
Right. But
And consideration.
Some chaos up close is just chaos, though.
Because you just defined it, because it's up close. Right. Some chaos up close is chaos.
And you're saying if we get far enough away, it's not chaos.
Every piece of chaos forms a pattern.
I see.
I had in my childhood on one side of a Thanksgiving table all theological people, and their rebelling other side all physicists. And I thought there must be a way to combine the two.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of my life wondering, how did a butterfly...
Bells!
Hold on, let's find these bells.
It's the church bells. They're getting closer.
Is the phone ringing over here?
Sounds like a doorbell.
Oh, I see.
Johnny
Damn.
Dam's got... Is that a church bell?
I thought
Johnny
it,
Bell
I thought it was on purpose.
Now, yeah.
I thought Heather was pressing a button.
Now we know where he got his last name from. Son of a...
Damn it.
No worries, brother. No worries.
So
It worked.
I just don't know how. I know to say that a monarch butterfly that can flip out its wings and has two predator bird eyes looking airbrushed in with the highlight of the light in the iris of the eye to scare a large bird off. That alone, that's lazy science. To say that's an accident. Lazy science. I think that there's another science. Just keep looking. Keep considering, and don't be scared when someone bags on you. Generally, I say stuff just to see who'll flip and pop. I'll say an outrageous thing just because an overreaction to a thing. Well, now I wasn't going to pursue it, but your overreaction means
Right.
I'm really going to look into it now.
But I mean, when you talk about something like a butterfly with the wing, with the eye, I mean, really, isn't that just you getting too close to the chaos and trying to make sense out of something kind of basic and simple? Really, at the end of the day.
So I shouldn't look into it.
No, you shouldn't look into it.
I think that's
different-
evolution at its best.
It is evolution at its best, and we understand
what if
it.
evolution is? But I'm saying, then I take that, click, put it over here, and what if evolution is part of another process that has an intelligence behind it?
Well, a lot of people say that. A lot of
Well,
people
look, everyone's an expert. Everyone says, I know for sure. humanity breaks off into the curious and the not curious.
But Rick, that's not true.
The
Not
settled
everybody
and the
says.
set.
No,
Like, I got it and I don't have it.
Atheists don't say I know.
It
for
is
sure.
scientific to keep looking. It is scientific to consider everything.
Right.
To consider everything is scientific.
What do
And
you
to say-
believe? Now, I'm
and
going
to say, I know for sure that's not true. I'm not saying for sure that you're wrong.
right.
You then join the pool of things I consider.
Andy,
Yes, sir.
tell us what you believe.
Well, I grew up Christian. I had to go to church every Sunday, and now I call myself a Christian.
You do?
I do.
You go to church?
Occasionally.
You pray?
I pray my fucking ass off.
Right.
Now, for me, though, it's one of those things. What's the phrase? There are no atheists.
In foxholes?
Yeah, and I feel like my life, I throw myself.
You're
I'm
in a foxhole.
Constantly.
You don't
in a-
want to risk
in
not
a
being-
foxhole. No, I feel like I'm hanging on by a thread. Not right this second, but a lot of times.
Yeah.
Where I just, if I didn't have something, I don't care. Look, if it's real or not.
Yeah.
In the end, to pray. When I'm laying in bed or laying on the bottom of a bathtub with the shower going,
Yeah.
praying my fucking ass off, please just let me live, or please just take me away, just let me die.
Well, but do you read the Bible at all?
Yeah, occasionally, and I let what I do is I let Christians, hardcore Christians, into my life, and I let them in, and
Sure.
I let them quote the Bible to me. So in that sense, I'm reading the Bible. They tell me.
Well, you're not.
stories and-
You're not if you're doing it that
Well,
way.
they're quoting. No, but it's better that way. I'm not going to
That's how
sit
I-
at night.
That's how I follow American Idol. Same thing.
Yeah?
Never watched
let
it.
people tell me because they'll quote it verbatim and then explain it. It's
Right.
If I'm sitting at home alone reading it at night, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to digest it. It's not going to. And the Bible is. It's not about the Bible for me. It's really just about God.
Well, when you do it that way, you're missing the best parts of the Bible, the most juiciest, raunchiest, fun,
I know you're
honest
no.
parts of the Bible.
No.
If you do it that way,
No,
they're not going to tell you the good parts.
No, I know what you're talking about. The weird, hardcore, the sex stuff, the drug stuff.
Rapey.
No, but I do. I've got some awesome
fucked these
Christians
daughters.
in my friends.
Say again, Jim?
Abraham fucked these daughters. Didn't
Oh, he did. And I got to be honest. Based on the description, I don't blame him.
That's not as bad as almost killing his son, though.
No.
Jim.
You gotta put it all in context. Like the
I was
daughters can
kidding, I was
whinge all they
kidding.
fucking want.
Are you an atheist?
I'm an atheist. Yes,
Yeah, okay.
I don't believe in anything. I don't believe that. And also, I take offence to when people say there's no atheist in a foxhole or on a sinking ship.
Right, that's not even close.
I would be. I really would be. I wouldn't be on my deathbed thing, because I think the whole idea, if you start saying that there's no atheist in a foxhole, that's because people are scared of dying because they're worried about what's afterwards.
Right.
So all religion, any religion you go to has an afterlife, or you reincarnate or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. If they take that away, they take away heaven or whatever afterlife they give, and God created the whole world, and He loves you, and He's brilliant, and He made you, and He made your family, and all that. Mm-hmm. You should still worship Him, even if there wasn't an afterlife. But would people go to church? Would they fuck if there was no afterlife?
Right,
But
right,
they,
right,
They
yeah.
need that
Yeah,
carrot
yeah.
given to them, and that's why they say that foxhole thing, because people panic on their deathbed. My grandmother was
Yeah, I
terrified
agree.
on her deathbed. Terrified of what was going to happen. And I think as an atheist, I won't be, because...
But you don't know because you've never been right at the
But I'm confident.
death's door.
I'm
No, yeah, not
But
like
you
not
don't
like
know,
Andy is every weekend.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. This is the thing. You're hanging... Elvis used to wear the cross, the Star of David, the thing, because he didn't want
just
to be...
to cover his base.
Yeah, he
bets.
didn't want to not get in on a technicality.
Well, I find that people tell me they're actually looking forward to that day when they have that great time after they're dead, and that's kind of sad to me that they would want to. Not saying people here in this room, I'm just saying that they would want to look forward to that. It's like this world right now is just not good enough.
It's
Are you an atheist?
Yes, I am.
Well, here's the thing. One of the great confusions is to confuse spirituality with religion when history proves them to be sworn enemies and opponents the entire time.
Well, how do you define spirituality?
Spirituality is my search for God Religion is you're telling me what God looks like, and I just repeat back to you those words rather than I go look on my own.
Well, I think all of us maybe not.
That's the entire difference.
No, that's true.
That's the thing about the Christianity thing. My dad grew up, his family was Jewish. I was adopted into this family. My mom was Christian. My dad just never went to church and never did anything with the temple, anything. And then later on, he became a Christian. I'm kind of just following in my dad's steps. And I said, you never went to church your whole life with us, and then all of a sudden, right when he was about to die, he became this Christian.
Right.
Well, anyways, and I said, why? And he said, well, because it's just right there. And it's just easy. And I'm with you. I'm looking for my God. I just call myself a Christian because it's convenient, and if I do want to pray, I do pray to Jesus.
But you are you're prick. I'm sorry.
But you are.
All right.
You are pricking and choosing. You're picking and choosing, though. I mean, because you're an openly bisexual. I'm openly bisexual.
Right.
Both of us are going straight to fucking hell.
Oh, I didn't know this when I came in for this show. I may be an atheist, but I still have morals.
Well, I don't think
Jeff
that,
has a bit about putting something in his ass. I wish I could remember what it was.
I don't think
Right.
I don't think that being bisexual has anything to do with God. I don't think God would frown upon it, and don't think it has anything to do with morals. I think it's completely fine to be bisexual.
Right. I agree with you.
I
but I don't think God exists, which is why it's easy for me.
Quantum theory is starting to come closer to touching spirituality again, but I treat it like it's a form of physics. Metaphysics are just physics. We're too primitive and traumatized a culture through religion to recognize as something that should be taught to children in school as another higher layer of just physics itself. Like, do this, accomplish that every time. That's what science is. Recognize a pattern. Do I do this to make the pattern reoccur?
Right.
Shed testing. And spirituality is, if I slow my metabolism down, my heart rate comes down, my health improves. What if then I get a sense of what other people are feeling and other things like that?
Exactly.
What if I check with them and it turns out they are feeling those things when I sensed that they were?
Yeah.
This still... I think it all requires research, and without that, it's just an opinion based on an emotion, based on a trauma up until then.
And that's prayer and meditation. What I was going to say earlier is whether prayer is real, whether it works or not, at the very least, at the end of my life, I have taken a few moments here and there in my life to relax, to slow my metabolism down, to reach out and think some positive thoughts. So at the very, very least,
Well, you're
it's
just
positive
spiritual,
thinking.
Andy. You're just spiritual.
But I pray to Jesus, and I do go to church.
Hey, and I'm a big fan of the title character, just not so certain about the unauthorized biography.
Well, you talking about Jesus or Andy?
Jesus didn't say write a book about me. He didn't say make a building with my dead. With my.
Come on, we don't know what he said. We don't know what he said.
Why, Andy?
He did tell him to speak, to witness what he has said. So that is writing a book to tell others of my message.
That's different from set up a business.
I tell you, if Jesus lived up to that
That's different from set up a business.
he'd be all over the internet. He'd be all over.
He'd be
it.
huge.
He'd be twittering all day.
He was the only savior out of thousands.
Well, that would be
Yeah,
great.
Unless he's an amalgamation
What
of
if he
different
is?
religions.
What if he's at? What if Charlie Sheen is Jesus?
Sold a whole lot of people some bread.
But why Jesus?
LOL.
Andy,
Hashtag
Andy.
love your father.
Yes,
Andy.
Heather.
Why Jesus?
Well, like I said, because he's right there.
But
because it's on
there's
every corner.
so
I can
many
turn
other
out. There's a
places you could
Presbyterian
turn.
church.
'Cause he was-
Like,
I'm
well,
surprised
no,
you're not
it's
Buddhist,
just
Andy. I'm
he was-
surprised you're not
but
Buddhist.
it's like a 7-Eleven store on every corner. There's a church on every. It's convenient, and
You should go
I'm
for
not
Alan.
kidding. It's convenient.
I like Alan, the Muslim.
But I
Muslim
want
one.
which one?
Alan and his mate Mo.
Alan and Mo.
Alan and Mo.
Alan
and
Mo.
Mo are big favourites of mine. And the Asian one, Bubba. I like him as well.
You like Bubba?
Bubba, Alan and Mo.
The
mate.
Three
Stooges.
Stooges. Yeah.
Nice, Rick. Nice. Oh, that's great. Yeah, because
It's
it's the last.
whatever country you're born in. It's like we have a God that likes white people for the most part. He likes Australia, America, Canada. These are the countries. He made the whole world,
Yeah.
but then he selected the countries he likes.
Like
And
English
then
and
those
Latin.
he made those other people, the coloured people that look different, and they follow wacky gods that they've just made up. They're not smart like us.
I have a
Unless
picture.
they're Chinese.
I have a picture. I have a black Jesus. I have a picture of a black Jesus on a cross, and from Africa. It's a black Jesus.
We don't say colored here. It's nigger.
Yeah.
Oh,
In case
I
you're
was trying to do a sarcastic,
Lordy.
sarcastic thing about how then you have to drop the N word.
I pray to.
It's
I pray.
naggers.
It's naggers.
I pray to a jigaboo Jesus. I pray to that picture.
There'd be
Sounds like a
lot of-
song, too.
My nigger Jesus.
Yeah, he doesn't look like anything that in theory, he didn't look like anything that appears on the toast.
Yeah.
He's
So-
a short Jew. That's what he'd be.
He was short Jew,
Short
but
Jew.
darker skin, right?
Arab, yeah.
He'd be Arab.
Arab short Jew.
Yeah.
Sand nigger.
Sand nigger.
He's my
you
sand
saw-
nigger Jesus.
You saw Zeitgeist, right? You said that
I
a
did
lot of
see it.
Christianity is
I
an
did see
amalgam
it.
of the
Zeitgeist, if I can jump in,
weather
changed her
cycles,
life.
and yeah. So, like,
Why
once
did-
again, we're getting to history, and it's starting to include physics again,
Yeah.
like weather cycles and solar cycles.
Right.
How did Zeitgeist change your life?
Heather became an atheist at the end of after watching Zeitgeist. It opened her mind up
that
to.
was part of one of the things that really opened my eyes was watching just the beginning of Zeitgeist, just that beginning part, going,
What is that?
Have you seen it?
It's an
Yeah, I've
internet
seen it.
thing.
It turns crazily spiritual, and I don't mean to slam
It just goes,
Rick at
the
all.
sun used to be the thing that they prayed to as
Right.
it came over
Crazy
the
is-
fields and the thing.
It's basically comparing
crazy-
all the different gods before
Oh, yeah, I did see
Jesus Christ.
Research looks like
showing the
crazy.
difference.
And they talk about
Research
how they
reads crazy.
all were born around Christmas, all these
Similarities, all
similarities.
similarities,
Yeah.
When it gets
I
to
was
be
born-
too much, you just go crazy. Ding. Stick a little label on it. Go
Right.
too much info. Ding. It's crazy.
That's
So-
what people do.
So
It doesn't
But the
matter.
fact is, if the world blew
Let me-
up or whatever, we had an ice age, we rise up again, we wouldn't have the same God. They'd make up another fucking.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we
But
know
Jim,
that to be true if we just look anthropologically at everything. I mean, that's what happens.
Emery,
consistently.
Heather, and Jim. What hopefully I'm asking this for both of us. What do you do, like when you're troubled, when you
Let me
feel
tell you
down,
something.
when you're at death's door, but maybe not that far. Maybe you're just having a fucking shitty day.
I like to watch Cheers.
Getting along in the world today takes everything you got.
And it picks me up. Even that song right now.
The song gets
Wouldn't you like to get
away.
Dun, dun.
So basically, you go to a bar,
No, I watch Cheers.
but in your mind, you're
or
kind
a
of going to a
happy
bar.
episode of MASH.
Well,
Not one of those sad ones
That
where
one was
people
sad.
die.
Sad man.
Very
A
special
good one where it's
episode
too
of MASH.
cold and they're fighting over long johns. That's the one that
The first three seasons. The first three seasons.
Hawkeye, close that door. I'm not Thomas Edison.
You've been messing around in my trunk.
That's not a bad impersonation.
That was good. That was
real good.
Why, thank you.
I can do a Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
Oh no.
And I can do Homer Simpson, but they're exactly the same.
Really?
Yes, Homer Simpson.
Oh, look, my sweet, nourishing beard.
Very nice.
And then do Cliff Clavin, you just speed it up, right?
Yeah, you know, the beer was invented in 1842 by
That's excellent.
Belgium with a
Not many people know that about me. I'm quite
Nice.
an impersonator.
Nice.
Just the two.
Man, if you would do that on stage, you could be so much less successful.
I can look like Radar O'Reilly from MASH. Here it is, right here. Did you know he had
Let the record reflect that he's holding up a gimped hand.
He has a gimpy hand.
And
yeah.
he-
That's why he had the clipboard.
Yeah,
He's
always hiding it behind the clipboard. It's wonderful.
Scotty was missing a finger.
Scotty was missing
Yes.
a finger.
He held a clipboard because this finger was gone.
Yeah, but he'd been working
Scotty
in the engine room.
from
That
Star
makes
Trek?
perfect
Really?
sense.
Yeah,
Hey, who's
the
it turn-
engineer, right?
If you
Such a tie-in.
speed up Scotty, does it turn into someone else?
Who?
Nothing
Oh
else.
yeah, you're setting me up for their callback.
Yeah.
The good thing about
Vince
being
didn't
able
have
to
a
do the
follow-up.
guy who played the guy of Cheers is I can do one Pixar character from each film as well.
One character.
It's the same
because
guy.
just one.
Yeah, he's in every Pixar
It's
film.
Ratzenberger.
I gotta hear it.
Ratzenberger.
I gotta hear it.
Hey, I'm the abominable snowman. How did you get it?
It is a variation on the other two.
I'm the pig from Toy Story.
It's a sweet gig, man.
Yeah, he's not unhappy. I'll tell you.
He's got
Well,
property.
let's answer Andy's question.
Yeah, what do
Heather?
you
I
do
got
when
the
you're
joke
when you're
answer.
down and out?
I was really sick. I had pancreatitis. I was down for months.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I'm
Yeah,
talking.
I really felt like I was going to die.
Were you an atheist at that time?
I was upcoming atheist at this time. I was coming up to atheist, but I'd never cried to God. I was more crying to my mother or sad or being upset that she wasn't there to help me.
I want my mommy.
Like, I
kind of
want my
thing.
mommy kind
Yeah.
of things. And I cried to my friends, my boyfriends. I had all my people around helping me, Relatives came out of nowhere to wish me well. And I just had all that support right in my face, the physical support.
Can I say
people
something
who
about
lift
that?
me up for real.
Can I say something about that?
Sure.
In AA, when I used to go a lot, I don't anymore, but they would say, hang on to any fucking thing you can and make it your God. And like what you're talking about. And the other thing is God's, now I sound like a real Christian, but God speaks through people. He just does. I really.
You know what I want to say to that.
And burning bushes. So
Sorry.
You're so funny, Andy.
But I'm telling you,
You're so funny.
maybe you do believe.
I
in
get it
God.
now. He's being sarcastic.
No, I'm not.
He's not. No, he's not.
Oh, God damn it.
Speaks through people.
Son of a bitch.
I personally, when I met my life, I had someone commit suicide in my life.
Hold on, before you tell
hang
this
on a
story, I got to
second.
do this. You're listening to Ardent Atheist on New Dissident Radio and available on the iTunes Store.
Yeah,
Stop it. Today's episode sponsored in part
I actually saw it.
by a willingness to be proven wrong. All right, let's come back. I'm sorry, I was 5 minutes late. I was 5 minutes late on this. You gotta set your back.
Oh yeah, hold your
So, Jim-
thought.
Oh, that suicide thought.
Jim, bring it on.
So I won't go into too many details, but a girl I was actually seeing
no.
committed suicide. And it was
In front
probably-
of you?
Not in front of me, no. I
you
made
were
that
kidding.
bit up for but,
That was a hot story for a minute. Go on.
but it was the lowest point in my life where I couldn't. But
I hate to be gruesome, but I always am curious.
drug overdose. But she actually rang me.
So it was
She
accident.
actually rang
It was
me.
an accident.
Why she was? No, she did it
No,
on purpose.
I'm sorry.
She did it on purpose. She took the drugs, then rang me up. And then I tried to convince her to take it. It was horrible.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, my point is, I watched Cheers. No,
A very special episode of Cheers.
No, my point is that I never thought of going to a God place. As I said, I rang family and friends. I cried to people. I also had the solace of, in my mind, knowing that her pain that she was going through as a person had ended.
Yeah.
Like, bang, had gone dead. She wasn't in any struggle of, did she go to hell? Did she go to heaven? Is she in a purgatory? Whatever you want to talk about.
Well, that's part of the problem with religion is that you get to spend a living life wondering, because the Bible says that goes to hell.
Yeah.
So now you're in torment.
Yeah,
That's one reason I could never commit suicide. I do believe that if you commit suicide, I believe that you would go to a certain kind of hell, because there are people who have committed suicide and then they live through it. They come back and they say they go to a very dark, grotesque, hell-like place.
Well, that's because they were suicidal.
Yeah, that's
They were already there.
yeah.
Right.
Have you ever taken mushrooms when you're in a bad mood? It's horrible.
Yeah,
if you're in a
you guys
cheery
might be
mood,
right.
you go
You might be
into
right.
it with
You
a
might
thing.
be right.
And it's
I'm not going to
also
play with fire.
Your euphoria.
Really? If I hear him right, I'm in everything in life. Andy Dick walks the edge, but when it comes to this, he's playing it conservative.
Right, so you've done things in your life that you go to hell for. Homosexuality's in the Bible, you
That's
go for
why
hell
I
for.
was
But you're
supposedly.
picking and choosing. You say, I choose that. I won't go to hell for that. I don't think you will
I
go to
ask
hell
for
that.
forgiveness, though. I pray and I ask for forgiveness on a daily basis.
Do you feel
Yeah,
guilty?
but imagine
Do you
if-
feel guilty?
No, I really
Imagine
don't.
if
I don't think it's
Good.
I don't think homosexuality.
Imagine if you hold the gun to your head and you go, God forgive me, boom. Right?
That's an interesting thought.
Okay, now...
Why am I hard?
Whoa.
No, but
You
my
are-
point is...
Sexual
I just,
deviant.
the people I've known in my life who have committed suicide, they've been at their wits' end. It's been, and you can commit suicide instantly, or you can do what me and you have done in our lives and almost drink ourselves to death for over a very long time.
Almost. I was shitting blood as
Shit
well.
and blood, you know what I mean? And that's still suicide in
It
a
is.
different
You're
manner.
right. I agree. I've been there. You're right.
So you're going to hell, Andy Dick.
So both of you. Well, you got to pick and choose because you will go to hell if you don't.
But
I think religion has
ask for
very
forgiveness.
cleverly set itself up to make a religion has destroyed any because the whole point of religion is to say search no further than here. It kills the desire to search. That's its brilliant stroke. That is its major death blow stroke. to no longer want to find anything out spiritually because it goes that far. And it also then creates the backlash to there is nothing spiritual then because you were so forceful in the other direction. Another brilliant move on their part, because we're actual spiritual, a science to be discovered out of this, made a science, taught as a science, functioning with children to build a generation that knows this stuff. Religion would cease to exist out of its irrelevance alone, like a buggy to a car.
I asked the people who talk to me on my face. What do we call
On
it?
your
Wall
face?
of talk to me on my face. No, but talk to me on my wall of reason here on the interweb. I say, when you're quoting these Bible quotes to me and you're trying to talk to me about, discuss with me religion, I say, please close the Bible and start looking.
Put it in your own words.
Put it in your own words. If you can't,
then it's just. But a lot of people, and by the way, there's a whole category of intellectual that falls into the same category. Purely memory code, brain dominant people that have no heart connection to a new way to.
So
put
when you hear somebody
zero poetry
regurgitating
in
anything,
their soul, hang on.
I'm sorry.
There's zero poetry in their soul. Everything is repeated dogma because that's how they were taught in school. A lot of academia teaches you tell the teacher back what the teacher said to you word for word. You get a plaque on your wall.
Right.
And that's why this kind of person, that's the one that corners you at a cocktail party and says, "Did you read this book? Oh, really? You didn't read that book? I'm kind of disappointed. I thought you were the kind of person that would have read that book." And it's a brain bully. But and I tell them, you're not even remotely interesting to me until I hear about the book you wrote, because all you're doing is riding the pony back of everyone else who did the hard work of writing, and you did memory. And if memory is the only point, my iPhone is 3 times smarter than you because it knows me.
But we have a problem with that fundamentally because, that hardline position you're taking, there's a lot to be...
Hardline position?
Sure, you're taking a very hardline position against anybody who hasn't done research themselves. That's really what you're saying.
It makes it hard for them to be the expert they claim to be.
But there are some experts who have studied the work of others.
There is something to be said for picking and choosing who you listen to. As well, my father's never written a book, but I wouldn't call him a stupid man. He doesn't come with many original
No, but he's not a bully that corners you and acts like an intellectual, tough guy, right? Or
no, he's not that. No,
that is the
That's what you're
absolute
talking
distinction.
about.
I'm talking about someone who, if you just live a life of that, but you don't then tell me why I'm wrong because I didn't work it just like you. I'm going to have to pull it out and say that you're not really qualified to because all you're doing is you're not making anything original.
you're regurgitating.
Yeah, intelligence, smart is you've memorized a lot. Intelligence is you've made a lot that others memorize.
I think there's a middle ground, though. I think that there are people who haven't done the studies, who haven't actually they've read a lot of information and they've studied the studies, and these people bring a lot to the table in terms of science, in terms of reason.
But every great breakthrough is by someone who took it the extra step.
No, not
You basically
I'll
have
agree
to
with
think.
that.
You have to digest. You have to have an opinion about it. You have to say
and
something.
I'm all for
about it.
research.
But
Yeah,
if
you
you're
have to
only
get
going to
that.
do your
That's not what
research in
makes
the
it the expert.
Bible, then I can't talk to you. If you're not going
when
to
did I
close
say
the Bible,
that?
no, I'm not talking about
she's
you.
just
I'm just
saying.
saying, continuing what I was saying before. If you're just going
The
to
Christians
look in
in
the
my
Bible but
life-
nowhere else, then I can't.
I have
talk
to agree because then you don't really have a lot of research. And when you say, the whole point is you can be proud of anything. The guy with 7 teeth is prouder than the guy with 3 teeth.
I hope so.
But that's where pride is like a barnacle, and it attaches to anything that submerges. And pride, you can be proud of stupid shit, and you can be proud of, this is what all I know is. Their subconscious is magnificent. They'll always say something like, all I know is. Pause. Let's play that back. Did you just tell me that's all you know?
Right.
I don't know how that makes me want to give a shit about what you say next when you say that's all you know.
That's an interesting...
How do you drive? Do you know where the key goes in the car?
When you say pride, because the whole thing is... Because pride it still is a 7 deadly sin, right?
Yeah.
Pride, yeah.
Yes,
Pride
it is.
means you
Yeah. By the way,
pride means you...
Only to Andy.
No. I love the 7 deadly sins. Just Jim and I do this.
Go.
Okay, well, I can do it. So pride is one.
Gluttony.
Sleepy,
remorseful, bashful.
Sloth.
Sloth's in there.
Envy.
It is in there.
Envy.
Gratuity. No, that's not.
That's a tip.
I'm going through the movie now.
Here's my theory. By the way, my theory about it is the one that you can't remember is the one that you are deep in the throes of. Literally. And you already are not even
one
getting
of them is bisexual drunk. Is that?
Well, you got it. You got my point because I could never remember the sex one. That's why you yeah.
Well, the whole thing about pride is
lust.
I could never remember that one. Oh, and anger.
But the thing is,
pride is
the one
a
you
sin.
couldn't remember.
Anger isn't in the list.
Yeah,
Pride
it
is a
is.
sin.
Yeah, it is.
Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath.
Wrath is anger.
Oh, I see. All right.
Wrath.
But see, the
And
thing
you
is,
didn't remember it, so you're in the throes of anger right now. No, you really must be.
Jim, are you angry?
It's my philosophy. You are angry about something.
I'm a little bit peeved.
See?
I'm seven deadly sins-esque.
I think you're only
Isn't that
one
a great philosophy?
deadly
I
sin.
came up with that. See,
Brilliant.
No, but the thing is, pride.
That's a lot of pride you got in those.
Pride is seen as a good quality now. When did pride become a good
that's
quality?
the one I would have forgotten.
When
That's
was
the
moment
first
when
one
that
he
became a good
remembered.
quality?
Pride is
I
great
would have forgotten
for making you not take new details or notes. I'm too proud to hear your notes about me.
Yeah, he's a very proud man.
No,
Sometimes
man,
I'm
listen.
an idiot.
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
this.
you're wrecking the neighborhood. Don't tell me. I'm too proud to hear that. You
Well,
know?
the problem is someone really prideful, or are they being perceived as prideful? That's where it gets fucking silly.
As
This
soon
whole
as you
idea
put a
is silly.
sticker on your car that says, I'm proud of my student who's an honor roll of thing, that's not even perceived to be. You're just a cock.
My honor roll student. Fuck your honor roll student.
Well, and on that, I'd like to say you're listening to Ardent Atheist on New Dissident
Right
Radio,
in front of me.
and
I actually
available.
saw
I'm going
the
to
potty.
You're listening to Ardent Atheist on New Dissident Radio and available on the iTunes Store. Today's show is brought to you by a belief in non-believers. All right. You weren't going to say anything. You shut up.
No, he was making a show.
Yeah, you're advertising.
about
I'm
death
trying
of
to.
his girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm making this show viral. Viral. That's got to be a new deadly sin.
That's got to be.
Yeah.
See, we have to update the deadly sins to be
Love the deadly
internet.
sins.
Internet.
I reckon-
savvy.
Deadly sins.
Ego
It's
surfing on the
seven
Google. That's
Deadly
a sin.
sins.
Ego serving.
Virus.
Yeah,
You're talking about looking up your own name.
Oh, it's horrible. It's a horrible affliction.
But that's covered by vanity, isn't it? It's yeah.
Vanity is one of them, huh?
Let's see here.
yeah.
It should be, but I'm not.
Website hacking is
Here's
that
the
one?
problem. Here's the problem. There's more than 7. Depends on which fucking religion you want to
Well,
believe.
there's more than 10 commandments as well.
There is
'Cause
indeed.
You
It
can,
depends.
they don't have rape in the 10 commandments. There's a few that they just sort of let fly by. I always find it weird that the 10 commandments are such obvious rules. Well, most of them are obvious. 5 or 6 of them are just
The first
God
4
harping on about himself.
Yeah,
right?
the first 4 are just a pissy God.
But the ones that people go, well, I live by the 10 Commandments. I'm an atheist and I live by the 10 Commandments. I try
'cause
not
it's
to
just
kill
common
and
sense
steal
to you.
from people. I don't.
Wait a
need
minute,
anyone to
Jim.
tell
You
me.
try not to kill? Is it that hard?
Have you seen my set? Sometimes I just have to kill. That's what the audience want, baby.
I have indeed seen your sets, and I
perfect.
agree with that. So, yeah,
613 commandments.
there are
613.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, if you get into the
those
Judaism law, you
amendments.
get into the,
All right,
to
the Jews have a lot more, do they?
with all of them is the idea. The idea is that when you add them all up, it becomes
600
staggeringly.
Six.
easy.
They're
count,
naming names. That's individuals.
count on the Jews to know the exact number.
I loved being Jewish. That was fun. Yeah, I loved drinking all the wine at the Seders. I used to get into that.
Oh, were you a Jew?
She's half Jew, half.
I'm Jew black.
Oh, you're Jew.
I'm
mate.
black.
Yeah, we haven't.
you're mulatto.
Blue.
Mulatto.
You're half black.
No, you'd be a Jigga
You're
Jew.
half black.
I'm a jigga.
Chicken Jew.
Thank you so much.
many,
We've been trying to think of a good.
Nice.
How many Jigga Jews does that computer have?
Me.
And out of nowhere.
Giga Jews. That's when they get work.
Yeah, that's a performing Jew.
What about blasphemy?
Who
That's one
books
of the,
that?
That's
Yeah.
one of the commandments.
Oh, blasphemy's nothing. You can say Jesus Christ all you want.
Blasphemy is just like
Wait a minute. What about Andy? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Andy, do you, do you have a problem with blasphemy?
No.
No.
But if I'm around some of my, like I said, hardcore Christian friends, I try not to say. I try not to even say, "Oh my God."
Really?
It's a little known fact that Andy's middle name's Jesus Sucks.
Andy, Jesus sucks dick.
Jesus is the only one who doesn't suck out of the whole batch.
But I say, "God
you like
damn
us-
it!" I say, "Jesus Christ!" I say, "God damn it!"
I'm not.
I know you do.
I'm not
You were
religious.
bleeding from the ass once.
God damn
go
it.
ahead.
I'm not religious, but neither was Jesus. That's why they killed him.
You
They
see
killed him
Jesus
for
as
not
just.
being religious.
Yeah,
You see
that's
him
a
as a
very
That's
hippie.
good
exactly why
point.
they had him whacked, because he wasn't following the corporation.
But he got back up 3
Religion
days
is a
later.
corporation.
Yeah. So yeah,
like
that's
Lenny
true.
Bruce.
Jesus wasn't a Christian because the people
He was
that
a
followed
Jew,
him
no,
started.
He was saying,
Christianity.
go
He was
against this
just
large
Jesus.
corporate structure, and the guy says, I want him dead.
I want his head right fucking here. I want this fucking guy dead. It's the mafia. It's the first mob. You know? Show the others. And then put them in a building, leave them on a stick dead. Why? So that they don't ever go against the corporation ever fucking again.
And they say, who do you want dead? And they go, do you want Jesus dead? Don't even say his name anymore.
And while you're at it, let that serial killer go.
Yeah, exactly.
So you think Jesus? Do you think Jesus was a divine person, Rick?
One of many.
I think we
One
all
of many.
are.
One of many. And by
Gandhi
divine,
maybe was divine in your opinion.
Yeah. I think people who try to help others on a mass scale are divine. And that's a word you choose. You say divine. So say divine.
But why can't
I think
they
we
just
all
be
are.
great, good people? Why does
But
it
we
have
have
to
to
be
find
magical?
that
They don't use the
about
word.
us.
I
Yeah,
just
well,
think the
I
guy
don't.
who owns In-N-Out Burger, that's the only bloke that I think is divine. He's the only person who helps me out on a regular basis.
Who's that?
The guy who owns In-N-Out. So good.
They put
Loves it.
biblical.
They used to put it on the bottom of the cups and the thing. He's the only
See,
biblical
Jesus is speaking through people once again.
fresh burgers.
Isn't
man.
No,
Jesus
Jesus
is
is
speaking
speaking
through burgers.
That's exactly
Yes.
right.
He was in and out.
Through-
33 years.
I turned
Fresh meats.
34 just 2 weeks ago, and it was good to outlive Jesus. There was a little.
good.
There was a little. I'm more invincible than fucking
Pride.
God.
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
You keep
pride.
talking like that,
Deadly
they'll put
sin.
you on a cross.
There was pride. There was
Pride.
anger. There was lust.
Well, you know, people are still getting fucked up real bad today for blasphemy in the world right now. It's pretty shitty.
Oh yeah, have you heard? What's the story? Let me pull that up. Hold on.
What is that called? Stigmata. A hole in
That's
your,
bullshit, 'cause he was put
is
through
that
the wrist.
was that the
It's
lust?
never happened.
Was
Ever
that the
happened,
lust though? You
ever.
wanted to fuck the stigmata?
No, I was wiping. I was wiping my ass, and there was. That's how I got stigmata. Get heavy drinking binge. My underwear looked like a Japanese flag, and I looked like Jesus.
Getting stiggy with it.
Japanese flag, just one red spot. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but if it washes away, it's not stigmata.
I can't wear white underwear. It looks like a crime scene afterwards. I don't know how people do it.
I have a friend who says that my doctor asked me for a stool sample, a sperm sample, a blood sample, and a urine sample, and I said, "Here, just take my underwear." That's my friend's joke.
Yeah, so I think the punishment for blasphemy in the Bible was stoning, and I think they're still stoning people today for it.
Well, in Pakistan, there was a minister murdered for criticizing the Islamic blasphemy law just this week. Murdered over it. Murdered, killed.
Was he stoned?
He was shot. Actually, it was the. I'm trying to think of the group that took. You know, it's one of those things.
I hope he was stoned when he got shot.
Hello.
Whoa! Hey, they also kill people. I just read this for homosexuality.
Yes, now.
Like right now.
Uganda, they're trying to pass laws. It looks like it might not.
Well,
work. They're
was
trying
it
to pass
the
laws.
Westboro? Is it the
you suck a
Westboro
dick,
Church?
you
The
die.
Westboro
What
Baptist
happened?
Church.
What,
Yeah,
they're protesting
Topeka?
the
My house.
deaths of soldiers because that they're saying thank God for these dead soldiers because it's from a country that permits homosexuals to exist at all.
Oh,
So
that's-
God is killing our soldiers. These are the people from the Westboro Church.
He
Baptist Church.
just got passed. It got passed in court, didn't
And
it?
now
today?
they just had
Andy, this is
passed
why-
in the court that they have the right to do that.
That's
under
where
free
freedom of
speech.
speech. No.
But that
But they
doesn't mean that
should.
they should, and there should other be because I know there was a
I agree with
motorcycle gang that turned and faced them because that's also free speech. I say gang, mount up.
Wait a minute. The
So
motorcycle
Mount up and
gang.
face
You're okay with violence against
Is it a motorcycle gang of cocksuckers?
No,
I-
they're facing the other way, but facing the other way.
No, but it's
No, they're not gay. That's not why they're doing this. They're doing this because they're related to some of those dead soldiers.
Dead soldiers.
Now you're
That's-
talking about my family. I'm going to come and look you in the face and just see how badass you are
Yeah.
when I'm staring you
I've
down.
faced these
Because
guys
people
down,
don't.
too.
They're all like,
Yeah, if
it's a
it's
tiny
true.
group of people, mostly family members, all mentally ill.
Yeah,
But they're going to-
vacuous people.
They're
They
picketing
s-
funerals. They're
they
going and
picketing
picketing
funerals.
dead soldiers'
Yeah.
funerals.
They
They're
believe,
really
they
doing
by the
believe
way-
that AIDS is a gift from God that
Yeah,
has
AIDS
been
is
come
gift
to
from
lie
God.
about the homosexuals. They send their kids. They have songs where they've rewritten the words to "We Are the World" to "God hates the world."
Yeah.
God hates the
and
fags.
all
God
the
hates the
children.
fags. Yeah,
God
yeah,
hates
yeah.
the fags and all the things.
Yeah, because
Let's also-
by the way, if you're
which
just-
is accurate.
purely to the Christians out there, if you're Christian listening to this, how did you think the devil was going to pull this off? How did you think he would re-enter? Dressed in a red devil outfit like an SNL fucking sketch? No. He would pose as one of you,
of you.
and all you could do is recognize him by his actions.
I've
How did you
always
think
said-
he'd come and get you?
I've always
was only one day you let the devil in for the devil to get you. You got to invite him in. That's the devil trying to get invited in.
Can I
so
tell
you
something?
believe in the devil?
Yeah, that I do
The
too.
devil?
And that is one
I'm
thing.
just saying, if you do, look at it that way.
I see. You're using their dogma.
I actually believe there
Cooler
there's
outfit.
a fight. There's a fight in me, at
Good
least,
and bad.
between good and bad, and I just like to simplify it from my own brain, just God and the devil. And I have literally out loud said, "Out, evil devil! I call you out of my body, out of my soul."
I thought when you
I
said
just
out,
did it
out.
just now, and I
Right.
mean it when I say.
And does the guy pull
like
out?
I just,
That's what I thought.
I told you I have never been fucked in the ass.
I didn't say I believe.
You
could have been out of your mouth.
You say ass either. I'm telling you.
You're the one that
No,
went
he
to the
didn't.
ass.
No,
What are you
because
hiding?
your nail.
What are you hiding?
No. Because if it was in his mouth, it would have sounded like this.
I have sucked cock, but I have
I'd
never
high-five
been
you if you weren't that
fucked
far
in
away.
the butt. I've
Yeah.
promised.
What's your reason for that?
Because I've had a finger in there and I didn't like it.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, but
have you
maybe-
been fucked in the butt?
I saw you.
Have you?
Sure, of course.
You like
last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. I just
You.
the finger.
Where was I?
You were wearing it.
You guys are going out.
Yeah.
And you strap one on and fuck him.
Yes.
I
Does it
enjoy
ever-
that on a regular basis.
That's tripping me out.
I can't-
Now let me ask you a quick question.
Sorry,
because
Jim.
you are
No, I have
you are
been.
half black.
Not anymore.
Can I call you a mulatto? Is that
You call me
is that,
whatever you like.
is that a
She's-
racist term
she's
these
jiggered
days?
you. Most
Is
people
that a
think of it
racist
as
term?
racist for some reason she
So
doesn't.
your dildo, is it black? Is it white? Or is it tan?
It's a zebra.
It's striped.
And being half Jew, it's cut.
Only halfway.
No, honestly, what color is it? I really
Half
am
off.
curious.
Is it?
Is it black? Come on.
Yours is white. Mine's black.
Yeah, that's true.
So
It's
you
true.
you
I have
own a
a white
strap
one and
on,
she has a-
but you own a
Is it a
strap
ra-
on.
We walk around the living room like that.
I own a box full of toys. That's what you're asking.
Is it a rabbit or a
I
rabbi?
love it. You
I'll
know,
tell
you should
I'll
get
tell you
Adam
where
and
the
Eve
devil
to
lives in that
sponsor your
fucking
thing.
I
box.
know, right?
Adam and Eve.
Right. That's a good idea.
Butt fucking.
No, Adam and Eve. That's weird. Adam and Eve is a sex toy company.
Yeah.
I used
should
to
sponsor you.
sell sex toys. I used to work for a fetish clothing store in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't get into the toys. I don't even own one. It seems like they get dirty. Do you clean them?
Well, there's a lot of toys right now that are actually so advanced. You can stick them in the dishwasher. Just make sure you take them out before Mama comes over and helps you out with the dishes.
Yeah, right next to the wine glass. How
Exactly.
that is disgusting.
They're made out of silicone. Some are made out of
You can use it
Pyrex.
to whisk before.
You could roll this Pyrex dildo over with a Mack truck and wouldn't break it.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying, yo.
Yeah. So,
If I was to
I'm
use a
stunned.
dildo, I use a glass.
We've gotten
one if
off
I was.
topic a bit.
glass
Well,
is
no,
good.
no. He
Glass
wants to
cleans
talk
up
about
really
sex,
nicely.
and so do I. Don't you?
I
What
like
does
talking.
Jesus
number
say
one
about
favorite.
sex?
You're
What are you
you're
talking about?
hung out with a
Half
hooker.
of-
Comfortable with
Half
sex
of Jim's
talk.
act
with a
is stories about shit in his ass. How many
Out of his ass.
have you been with a tranny yet?
No, I've never been with a tranny, no.
I was in the store, the microphone store today, and they sell other
Yeah.
things as well.
That's another
But,
brand of sex toys.
Is this thing on?
Well, anyways, there was a tranny trying to pick me up, and she said my boyfriend's away. He's a soldier and he's away, and I don't think it's going to work out. And I said, well, I'm right here if it doesn't. She said, oh, you wouldn't like me. I'm a transsexual. And I wanted to say, I know. I mean, it's obvious, but I didn't want to offend.
You want to be polite. Yeah. Well, that's
One-stop shopping.
Yeah, exactly. You got both right there. But I've never been with a transsexual. Never have.
No.
Well, you should get on board with that.
I like it. I mean,
Have
I
you?
mean, she has to hold her balls up out of the way when I'm fucking her in the
Close.
ass because I mean, my balls start slamming into her balls. I'm going to kind of lose my erection a little bit. But
Usually transsexuals, I've seen them naked, and they usually they have very tiny penises, almost clit-like.
there's no usual. Actually,
There's
it
nothing.
varies all across
It
the board,
does?
and it
Okay.
depends on how long they've been on. I mean, I don't know.
What does Jesus say about transsexuals?
He wouldn't even known.
Yeah, there
They
was-
didn't have TV back then.
Or the internet.
Are you married, Rick?
No.
You have a girlfriend right now?
I'm currently just afloat.
Okay, me. Okay.
Have you been married before?
No, no. I'm equally. I'm part of the equation too. You know, women. I can't live with them, and they can't live with me. I really.
Really?
I'm half of the problem right
Can't
there.
live with
you know.
them? Can you?
I'm. It's pretty complicated.
You're one of the nicest, mildest, meekest, spiritualist guys I know.
But
I
when-
can I give you a
understand
shout
But when
out?
the devil takes over, he beats him.
No, I like. But I like women. I love them.
Yeah, and you don't like. You've never been with a man.
like a
you don't like
retarded
men.
child holding a.
I like them a lot.
You've never
Andy?
been with a man.
No.
Hey, by the way, I just
don't
finished.
see anything wrong with it. You know, to every gay couple or gay person, I say thank you for that added car length on the 405. Your kid is not fucking hanging me up another quarter mile to get home.
Nice.
You are not going to keep the species pushing us off the cliff. You're of enormous value to us, just on purely scientific terms.
I have 3
our
kids.
Nature's best friend.
Right.
Plus, you can really take care of all of our kids for us.
and I'm also
You're so
like,
fucking good at it.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting the fat chicks out of the herd.
Exactly.
No,
Thank you for making them feel wanted and needed.
I don't care.
Thank you for saying things like, if I wasn't gay, I don't know why no boys like you, because I would pick you up in a second.
There you go. You drive a couple miles thinking good about that. But I don't care who you love. I only care who you hate.
Oh.
And I hate gays.
And I'll see you there Sunday at the Westboro Baptist Church. Be sure to bring your combination.
God hates the fags.
Torch.
Can I interrupt you now,
flaming
Jeff?
sign.
Yeah, sure.
I mean Jim Jefferies.
Do you know the word faggot comes from the Bible? There you go.
What?
It
Wow.
does?
What do you mean?
It does.
Hey, before you tell that,
Let me hear.
The word fag comes from the Bible. I can't remember the actual sermon, but I've actually read it. I've actually sat down. I got this off Ricky Lake, of all things, because there was a guy on Ricky Lake who was a preacher who does this thing, and he was going, these faggots, here are the faggots. And then some gay guy stood up and said, excuse me, I believe that a faggot is a bundle of sticks, which is true, right?
Right.
So faggot's kindling. The sodomites are the faggots of hell. They fuel the fire.
Is that what it says in the Bible?
in the
That's in the
Bible.
Bible.
Really?
That's how we get the word faggot, because they're the kindling of hell.
Well, God
Good
bless him.
etymology. Thanks.
I
for
love
that.
it. And
God
I
bless
saw.
us, everyone.
I watched Ricky Lake fuck my roommate.
What?
Because we lived in the same studio apartment.
Well, no wonder you turned half gay.
Did you stand at the door and go, go Ricky, go Ricky, go Ricky, don't crush him, he's not breathing, pick him up.
It was way before her show.
I can never
and
get
it was
her on
way
the show
before
now.
I was on TV,
Yeah.
and she was large.
You got to tell the story. How did you come to?
I was living with a friend. I was living with him.
Must have thought
in
it was
a
an
studio
earthquake.
apartment.
No, I mean, how'd you come? No, I'm sorry. How did you? How did you come to see this?
We lived in the same room. We lived in a studio apartment. He was letting me crash on his futon/couch that
Right.
folded out, and he had his bed, and I used to just watch him fuck.
I think if you're fucking in front of Andy Dick, you're asking for a whole lot.
They
of
didn't
trouble.
think I was watching.
They
but
didn't-
Of course I was.
Okay, there's more to the story. They had no idea
Well,
you were in
yeah,
the
they
room, and
didn't
you
know.
really didn't live
No, they
there,
knew
did
I
you?
was in the room. You knew I was in the room.
You
but they
snuck
thought I
into the
was-
home, didn't you?
No,
Tell the story, Andy.
I did. I used to live there, and
Okay.
we used to sleep. By the way, can I give
Ricky
you a
Lake
shout
sounds
out?
like a porn name of a girl who's a gusher.
Squirt Queen.
Squirt Queen, Ricky Lake.
Before I forget, I finished Greg Fitzsimmons' book, and did you read it?
Yeah.
He loves you.
Fitzy's
Yeah,
been very
yeah.
kind.
Everyone
I do
loves
appreciate
He said
very
that
much.
you were a big influence on him when he was just starting
He
out.
was very nice.
he
And
said
That was weird to me
did
because I thought
the
you guys
show,
were the
too.
same age. It's
When did
like
you start
weird.
out,
I'm
Rick?
56. I started in
looking good.
late 73.
Late '73.
Yeah,
Been
thanks,
around
thanks.
forever.
I've been
Absolutely.
staying-
wonderful.
Greg used to
I'm
go
like-
and watch him.
Right.
Yeah, back in the old days when I had hair. That's
He's
great.
also a big influence on me never getting married. So I'd like to thank you for that.
My pleasure, Jim. My pleasure.
You're listening to Ardent Atheist on New Dissident Radio and available on the iTunes Store. Ardent Atheist is made possible by the Internet.
It's a good book, too.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, I think so. And science.
Are they still talking?
Yeah, you. I'm sure you had
What about your
something to say,
girlfriend?
right?
What about the girlfriend?
You brought up some horrible memories, and I'm not happy about this show at all. I'm just happy that I got to showcase my Cliff Clavin, which I've been trying to find a platform for that for a long time.
Well, here it
Nailed it, man.
Here it is. It's finally.
Yeah, I'd like
flown.
to thank you for having me on the show.
You can move on with your life now.
My experience is I wound up for a while doing a lot of group sex things. You know?
No.
You went through that period when the
I
whole.
was around when it was safe to do. Is why.
Did you enjoy it?
Not always, but I
Yeah.
had almost sometimes it was for the bragging rights alone. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
rather than
I find it's too many people. I had 3 women once. Too many. It was like spinning plates. Any
like the
more-
guy
any-
on Sullivan.
Yeah, any more than 2. Two's,
That's on you,
two's
though.
in it. No, but 3, I'm moving around. I'm doing the thing.
And
If the
I'm
girls
only
weren't
one
in-
man.
the girls they weren't interacting that much with each other. It was all
They were
for
3
me.
blow-up dolls.
And you probably favored one, right?
There was one that was what
You
you
two
you'd
can
call
leave.
part of a package deal.
Okay, now
The larger one.
The larger one. Right. And so we brought her in, and there was a moment where I sort of lifted up and did that standing up thing on a chair. And then, like, a friend looked at that, like, no boy's ever done that to me. And I was close to going, come on, fatty, it's not for everyone. There's a scale to ride this ride.
I applaud you. I applaud you for letting the fat one into the group. I mean, that's
Talking about that's good.
I'm very Christian at times.
well, and you're no spring chicken yourself. I don't mind saying. You're carrying a few pounds. Right?
Yeah, thank you.
You can't throw a shirt off and then act like a dick because someone's got a little bit of weight.
You're not, don't let him talk to you like that.
I had another situation where it was 3 girls and 2 guys, and there was let's say
2 guys, you and one other guy, or you and 2 other guys?
No, me and one other guy.
Okay.
And let's just say, for the sake of argument, there was cocaine there. And
Did he touch your dick?
No, his name wasn't Cocaine. That was just
No, did he touch your dick?
No, he didn't touch my dick. Now, the guy I was with was a black guy who had one of those ripped black bodies, like ultra slim and fit and abs.
And he didn't try to touch your dick.
And he didn't try to touch my dick. Now, the thing was, so he sort of set it up. The girls wanted to meet me. It was after a show. This is in Cornwall, in the south of England, in the real war area where they speak like pirates. Yeah, that's where it's from. The Pirates of Penzance, Cornwall.
Let's go have a party, mate.
Yeah, party. Right? That's the place, right? So I was down there. I meet these 3 girls. They were quite young, 12. No, they were 24, 22, somewhere around there. And so they come back in the room. We do blow. And we start off, and as soon as they saw him naked, they came back to the room because of me, because of the famous guy. Mm-hmm. But as soon as we got to the room and he took his clothes off, the Jefferies wasn't it. I was wallpaper in the orgy. Right?
The new headliner.
Until, may I add, everyone took a lot of coke. Now, there was only one person in that room that didn't suffer from stage fright. Right? I was the only one keeping an erection.
Really? Even with all the coke?
You've never felt worse about yourself when there's just a girl working on a black cock going, come on, surely this can work. And I was standing up to the side going, I've got a functional one right now. And if anyone wants it...
Oh, take that, the dick that needed too much blood. It's interesting. You couldn't keep Andy's attention until you finally got to the cocaine part of the story.
I can keep my erection in a cocaine.
With cocaine.
I can't come unless I'm punching you, but I'm there.
I was at Studio 50, Plato's Retreat. I was at Plato's Retreat.
And just so they know, Plato's Retreat was
a
the
sex
big
club in New
swingers
York
party
back
club,
in the late
right.
70s.
In the 70s.
And I had a friend who, she kind of got me in because she knew everybody. And so we had a little bit of fun. And I was kind of done. And all cummed out. And I got a towel around me. And I'm holding an empty bottle of Corbel.
So you're 10 minutes in?
Yeah, right.
Hello, thank you very much. That was lovely. I'm going to walk around and explore and get some cold cuts. Because I see that there's a lovely buffet over there.
No. So I walked over to the edge of this drained out swimming pool because it was an indoor mob gymnasium from the 30s in this building. That's cool. And they drained the pool and had all these blue mats on the bottom of it. So it was this bobbing sea of acids and heads. And I'm totally fucked up. I'm just Reverend Jimmed out, scragged out, fucking wasted. And I looked down and I saw the most surreal thing. Out of this bobbing sea of heads and asses, up crests Professor Irwin Corey's head for air, like, and back.
And who's he? Sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah.
A very great surrealist comic from the early days of the Lenny Bruce.
Where is he?
And
He's gotta
he's
be
around,
dead. Is he
man.
around?
He's still alive. God bless him. I
What's
love
his
him.
name again?
But he's got herpes, I'll tell you.
Professor
I don't know, but Professor
Irwin Corey.
Professor Irwin Corey.
Yeah.
He would he'd come out with these long tucks and tails and sneakers and scraggly white hair and start his act in mid-sentence going, however.
Great story.
I've had a couple threesomes with girls, but have you ever had a threesome just you, a guy, and one girl?
I've had a threesome just me.
Either hand.
I'll never do it again with
I
a
did.
girl and another guy
I
because
did it with a middle act once.
yeah, I don't.
Wow.
Not with him.
That's called fucking down.
Looking down, I know. Well, he's the one who set it up, so
I
was
had-
invited.
I have a middle act story.
Oh, sorry, I had one. You finish your story.
Just that I find, well, it's always usually with it's with my girlfriend, and there's a guy that I find attractive, so I'm like, get that guy in, let's have some fun. And then it always winds up where they're fucking and I'm standing at the side of the bed going, you guys almost done?
Yep.
I hate it. I hate it. I get jealous. And
Yeah.
I hate it.
That happened with my
man,
uncle and my
twice.
sister.
I won't do that. Was that Woody Allen?
I had a threesome
Wonderful.
once where I met this. There was a bit of drugs involved, whatever. I was at a music fest, and I won't say where in the world because the guy has a wife and everything, so he might get in trouble.
You can't even say the city or the town. You got it. All right.
I'll tell you afterwards, and I'll tell you why I can't.
Yeah. Well, I already know now. Go
Anyway,
ahead.
so I meet this guy, and I'm walking along the fence, and he's on the other side of the fence, and he's like, Jim Jefferies, fucking hell, right? I'm doing that thing. Hey, douchebag, how you doing? And then he's like, I'm here on a stag do. I got a limo filled with hookers and drugs.
Holy shit.
Right?
Wow, nice.
I scaled the fence. Right? I get over the other side. We get back. We go out. We go drinking. We go to this strip club. We meet this Argentinian stripper. Right? She starts to take a fondness to him. He's quite a good-looking guy. And one of my specials was on TV in the dressing room at the time.
Nice.
And so he was actually going, oh, yeah, I'm his manager. He's like a famous person type of thing, right? So then we go back. We take the strip back. I, at this stage, didn't know if whether it was a hooker. If you ever had a girl sucking the two of you off where you're having this discussion, are we paying for this?
Yes. I've had that. Wondering if this is, wait a second, that's too good.
I've had the conversation where I ask, "Are you paying for this?"
No, the punchline's not there. So anyway, I'm wasted. I'm laying down on the bed. This guy is obviously a fan. He's shagging her from behind. I'm laying in the bed. She's sucking me off. But he's keeping eye contact with me. He's not.
I have the exact same story.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
He's not diverting. He's fucking and staring at my face, right? And I'm there going, out of the way. Why are you looking at me, right? Man. He pulls out. He comes on her back, and as he's coming, he goes, Jim Jefferies.
You know, as good as that story is, it's probably better when he tells it. I got to do a three-way. It was the first three-way I ever found myself in. I'll say I was in Nashville. And
Jim Jefferies.
I know, right?
with the finger snap.
Yeah, he did a little hand move. Jim Jefferies.
I think there was even a fucking hell, Jim Jefferies.
Was he just trying to get it off his hand?
He'd been saying it all night, though. He'd been walking along. He goes, I can't believe it. I'm out with Jim Jefferies.
I mean, but really, you were his kink. I mean, that's what he was getting him off, which is kind of creepy a little bit.
It's a little gay. It's a little gay. So I guess you have been with a man, my friend.
Ooh! Finally,
You
Andy
have
gets
been with a man.
He fucked you through a middle
I did lick the cum off her back.
No. I know.
Andy's not happy till we're all bisexual. But here's the deal.
You're kidding about that.
I was
know
working
you
in
did.
Nashville, and I had gotten this waitress to go back to the condo with myself in the middle act, and I'm eating her out, and he's playing with her tits, and one of those seats where he's being too rough. I mean, she's not even enjoying, I can tell, his fucking rough tit play. And I'm eating her pussy, and he's laying, I can't even really see her face. He's blocking and looking me in the eye. Like, yeah, look at that. And he's rubbing her tits, and he's staring me in the eye. And finally, I'm like, I just closed my eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm eating her pussy, and I'm closing my eyes, and now her body is in my mind and not him. And I kid you not, he fucking thumps me on the forehead.
With his dog.
No.
You mean flicks you? Flicks you?
He reached down and right in the forehead. And now I'm laughing into her vagina. I kid you not.
Did it echo back?
No, she was tight.
He wanted you to open your eyes and look at him, is what you're saying. Is that what it was?
You guys, I have to wrap the show up. I want to thank my guests, Rick Overton, Jim Jefferies, and Andy Dick for being here today. Guys, thank you so much for coming in.
Jim Jefferies. Jim Jefferies.
Jim Jefferies.
Thank you, Emery.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks.
I also want to thank my co-host, Heather Henderson, and New Dissident Radio. That's it for episode 3. In the studio tonight, we have Jim Jefferies and Paul Provenza. You know these guys from Showbiz.
Content. From Showbiz. Direct from Showbiz.
You've never heard that? I've done that gag every time you're here.
You know
I don't
these
listen to
guys
this
from
shit.
such websites as Google?
Yeah. And
Facebooks.
And the Facebooks with the twit face.
thank you so much for being here, Prevents.
I hear that you guys have like a massive number of listeners.
It's kind of crazy,
We're
actually.
getting there, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty
Seriously.
nutty.
Seriously, and none of them are going to put up $10.
Some will. We've already sold some premium subscriptions.
I
Believe
would-
it or
if
not.
I were not in the show business,
Yeah.
I would be a premium subscriber.
And you are in the show business.
So there's no point in it.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, thanks.
I'll
You
also
don't
let you
fucking
have a free
shit.
subscription. Hello with the mating.
Premium all
You
over
were
my
at Reason
back.
Rally,
Yes, I was.
and that was phenomenal, I understand.
Unbelievable. It was so much fun. It was so cool. It was so not what I expected it to feel like.
What's the matter with you people? Why do you have to bug everybody about what you believe? Why
I
do you
know.
have to
Well,
gather?
Why are you talking
What's
about
wrong
something
with
you
you?
don't even believe in? But I also had the great pleasure of seeing Jim Jefferies in Melbourne at the Global Atheist Conference.
You really? When was
Yes,
this?
This was just a few weeks ago, right,
Just
Jim?
sitting there acting like nothing's going on. Jim, you were where?
I was at the Global Atheist Convention in Melbourne, like Paul said.
Oh, nice.
I can't understand you. Can you speak it in English, please?
He's speaking in English. You're just a
that's-
Negro.
That's unpleasant.
She's very
Maybe I'll
confused.
speak like you. Hi, everybody.
No, that's Matt. That's your impression of Matt.
Oh, that's
Kirshen.
right. I got to work on yours.
That
That's an
sounded to me
awful
like
impression.
Mary Poppins.
Yes.
And Jim, how are you, Jim?
I'm okay. Yeah. I had a few problems finding the place. I'm sorry I'm late.
You're not late. We completely played it off like you weren't
It
late.
See, you
feels
fucked
like
that shit up.
Oh, what difference does it make? People understand.
It
Like
doesn't
this?
matter. Your
What?
shirt looks.
What have I done?
Just don't knock that into
He's
that.
letting you know that
Just
there's
let
a
you know it's
camera
there,
rolling.
I haven't touched. It's been fine.
Don't
Yeah.
touch anything.
No, it was good. It was good. This has a feel of a place where you fuck a hooker. that little motel on the side.
Can I
Like,
be
I
honest?
actually walked past it and I saw like it's the most dingy place ever. There's like
Yeah.
a Mercedes parked here and a.
You know, every
You know
time
why?
Henry comes in, when he sets up, he has to get rid of bloody ski masks.
Was it
afternoon.
was it a shitty motel before it was a?
I don't know what this was. It
This
might
room
well
is
have been.
too small to be a.
Or
It may not have been a motel, but I'm pretty sure it was shitty.
Yeah.
So, it's really a pleasure to have you back on, Jim. It's been a while since you've been here.
Well,
and,
thank you.
I'm glad you were able to finally find it.
Last time I was on talking shit with Jim Jefferies and Eddie If.
Their show.
Yeah, I almost got killed.
What?
That's when Jason went crazy with a butcher knife.
I want to get Jason on the show with you sometime.
Don't. He heard that. You said that to me once that Jason could come on the show, and he's very excited. He's never been invited on another podcast.
He's your
been
Carl,
invited in public.
As
It's
I understand,
actually-
he's your Carl Pilkington.
If
Is that right?
Jason's listening, it's his 40th birthday. Today.
Oh, happy birthday, Jason.
And yeah, it's a celebration of achieving nothing in 40 years.
Now, why do you say nothing? As I understand it, the guy is.
He used to be a cult leader.
Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Even Jim Jones succeeded at something.
He exceeded a lot, Jim
Yeah,
Jones.
but Jim
How many
Jones
people did he kill?
Jim Jones's record's better than Jason's.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's Jason's last name?
Auer. A-U-E-R.
A-U-E-R. Hour.
Auer.
I'm gonna
Which is
pronounce it.
actually how I say the word hour.
Right?
Hour.
So he's. I've only heard your podcast 2 or 3 times.
Right.
And he seems like he's psychotic.
Yeah, he's he's got chemical problems, and
I love
he was a
Jason.
homeless guy that slept on the couch for a while, but he's paying rent.
That's a hook
now.
these days, right?
You know what?
He's one of the nicest men you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
And he's actually quite funny. When he doesn't always know when he's being funny, but he's very funny.
He can't harness it.
Well, let's get him on next week then.
What are you talking to me for? I'm not his
Without
agent.
without me here or without Eddie
You
here?
say that like it's a risk. There's a danger.
You need handlers.
I would love to listen to that. I will sort that out. He will be here next year.
I want him
week.
here next week. If
Next
you're
week.
listening, I want you on next
Just
week.
hide
Jason.
all sharp objects.
Yeah, he can't. Do we need to frisk him?
No, he doesn't. He's not harmful. I don't think.
Yeah. Provenza thinks he almost died when he was on your show.
He
so-
decided to stab an airbed that we were sitting on because Eddie hadn't got new furniture, and we were teasing him, so he went and got a knife and stabbed his airbed. It was
But he
his
said-
airbed.
Why would you do that?
That's the really funny thing.
You just have
But
to make yourself miserable.
Yeah.
he's not really particularly gifted at handling knives, so they was just kind of flying around real close to everybody's eyes.
Good God.
Sounds
Imagine
like
imagine Chris Farley without the grace.
Okay, so but he didn't die of drug abuse.
Not yet.
Right.
Not yet. He's only 40. He's got plenty of time. But I think that's the thing with drugs. I think if they're going to get you, they're going to get you sort of before 40. Like Whitney Houston.
You really? I've never heard this mathematics.
Whitney Houston was an exception to the rule. How old was she? Like 42 or something?
Was she 42?
I don't know.
She
I'm
was
just
late 30s. No. Wall of Reason. How old was Whitney Houston?
Are you saying it's just cooler to die of drugs before you're 40 and then afterwards it's a little pathetic?
No, I'm just thinking that you actually put the brakes on it a bit when you get older.
Yeah.
Because you do have that thing when you're young. I
gotta put the brakes on chocolate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's something you indulge in until you die because it's such a gradual. But with drugs, it's like you can actually. The older you get, like when you used to take coke and you used to go. I used to remember going, "Fucking hell, my heart's going quick," right? Yeah. And now when I take coke, I'm like, "Oh, my heart's going quick."
Yeah,
and that's
There are other drugs than that.
I better not have that fifth line.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you do a lot of the drugs or
not anymore?
You've kind of slowed down a bit.
I've taken my fair share.
Yeah,
yeah, but I don't. No, not the occasional line here and there, but nothing drastic. I never had a problem with drugs really.
Yeah,
and a lot of my friends did, but I've taken a lot of drugs.
I had a short run with the cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it maybe 5, 10 times, 30, 60. I don't know how many, but no, honestly, no. It was honestly 5 or 10, honestly.
That's nothing.
And nothing. And it was all spread out over a couple of hours.
I've never done cocaine ever in my life.
I was still...
The last thing I need is something to make me more anxious and
jumpy.
Well,
that's kind of how I
was still
felt about
preach to this day, because I'm a blackout drunk. If you can take just 2 lines of coke, it's a good thing for you.
That's
if
how
you
I
can
am.
just take 2.
Well, the thing happened
then I'll
to me
take
where
2. Thank you.
I started having allergic reactions to it.
Well, your nose was all blocked up.
Well, yeah, no, I was like Felix Unger.
Did you have to have like an epinephrine pen when you went out for a night?
It's like when you meet these people who go, "I'm allergic to alcohol." No, you're just a quick drunk.
No, it was an allergy. It was an allergic reaction, and that I'm allergic to smoke bullshit is bullshit. But I remember, Prevens, we were cutting the Aristocrats, and I had a weekend, and then we got back together on a Monday, and I had a trash can sitting next to me, and I was blowing my nose all fucking day.
You had done coke that weekend?
The night before, I had done some cocaine. That was the first time it blew up on me like this. I was sick as a fucking dog. And I thought
but that's a drug hangover.
It's not. I've had drug hangovers.
Can you get high with shellfish?
Yeah, sure. No, I can't get high with shellfish. I wish. That would be great. But here's the deal. I spent 2 days recovering from that, and then the same girl that I used to get together and we'd snort coke off each other once in a while. We got together a month later.
So that really actually happens? The only reason why men do coke is it's snorted off women's butts or something?
No, in this particular
that's
case.
ridiculous. Anyone who says this snorted off some girl's tit. Coke is if it gets to any moisture whatsoever, it's done.
Well,
it gets all claggy. You want it as dry as fuck. They put it under hot lamps until it crystallizes. You don't want to put it on someone's sweaty fucking
you're
body.
you're licking up half of it. No question about that when you do it. But same reaction. I had the same reaction, and then I went, okay, I'm done doing coke.
Maybe
you
you
like
just
mushrooms?
needed a different girl.
I love mushrooms, but
mushrooms are the ones that I'll never give up. I'll take mushrooms until I'm 80.
Yeah, I would
but
too.
only twice a year.
They
But
give
you also
constipation when you get older. You don't want to do them.
But do you also sense a big difference between doing the chemicals and doing something like mushrooms or weed?
Oh, a huge difference.
Yeah,
I don't
thing,
get
right?
in the panic of my heart speeding up. I don't worry about that I'm starting to sweat or whatever. I might dry retch a little bit on mushrooms for like 10 minutes in the beginning of it, and then it all kicks in fine. But
but it's like it becomes immediately apparent that there's no way these two should be classed in the same division as drugs go.
Right. No, I've done acid twice. I'm not a big acid guy, but mushrooms I love.
Yeah, acid's too much of a time commitment for me. I mean, there comes a point when you're into tomorrow so deeply that you're like, I am stuck this way.
My very first acid trip was the best and will be the best I ever had.
Really?
Yeah, it was the best. I was basically too young to be having acid, and I had a manager. He was my music manager, and he was a little creepy to me, but I, just went with it.
How old are we talking?
Well, I wasn't. I think I just turned 17 or something like that.
Oh, well, that's not too young.
For me, I was an innocent little Christian girl.
Who had a music manager?
Yeah, well,
she was
Hey, man, there's big money in that Christian shit.
I was the co-host of a
music.
television show at 16.
Yeah,
so
she was.
And what was the TV show?
Dance
Remember
USA? He doesn't remember.
Why would I
How old are
remember that?
you?
I'm more importantly, I'm Australian.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. You would never know the show. This is
Australian
one of those
equals about 8 years old.
kids. This is one of those kids' teen dance shows called Dance Party USA. It was nationwide.
Dance Party USA.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I was on it. And then the episode with New Kids on the Block, I opted to stay home because I didn't want to be there for that. Craziness.
Really? Because they would have gotten you. They would have gotten you all kinds of acid.
Right.
No,
I'm kidding.
everyone fucking was there. But anyway,
I opened for New Kids on the Block once.
Get out of here.
For real?
Oh,
yeah,
my
in an
God.
elementary
You
school.
did?
In an elementary school in Michigan somewhere.
I once fingered a kid on my block.
And he was new to you.
Hey, I'm not weird, Paul.
But wait a second. So finish this, this story here.
So my manager was trying to. He was like, "I'm going to let you in on how music was in the 60s and the 70s, and I want to show you how that, the trippy music worked." And everything. I was like, "All right, fine. So we're going to take this acid, and you're going to lay in this bed in this room by yourself." He put 2 basement speakers up by my ears, and then played 5 hours of music at me, and I listened to all the trip music, Jimi Hendrix, Dark Side of the Moon, and even he played Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation, which is a fucking trip from beginning to end. Believe it or not, it was made to be a trip for acid users.
Why was it made to be a trip for acid?
It's got all this kinds of subliminal messages throughout it and stuff like that.
So you're saying Janet Jackson was into acid?
Well, she was definitely into that sound for that album. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis probably put her in a room with 2 speakers by her head, made her have acid, and then wrote the album.
The record was produced by Owlsley.
So the record that we were producing had each letter of each song spelled out something. So we were trying to spell out "All Day I Dream of Yes." And we were trying to write songs to fit into this thing, and it never got finished.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it again. You shouldn't do it again. It's really cutting
but it
into
was
your
the
productive
best
time.
trip I ever had. It was the best time I ever had. And after it was done,
It was a very cliche trip.
I walked around outside and was like, the colors, and then went home.
I can't go outside when I'm tripping on mushrooms.
I love it.
Oh, I go for wanders, yeah. I go for little walks.
I like going to a really shitty show when I'm on mushrooms and just enjoying the shit out of it.
The problem is that I get that paranoia of everyone knows.
Yeah,
and it's justified because everyone does know.
Everyone
you can't
knows.
not know when a
Absolutely
guy's completely
everyone knows.
tripping balls.
Well,
you have to know.
If smiling like you have a shit-eating grin is being able to tell, then
It's
yes,
true. You
they
could
can
just be an
tell.
idiot.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've only done mushroom a handful of times, but I like them. But none of that other stuff, acid, coke.
They
I
change
couldn't handle it.
They change your perspective for life. I believe that's true.
I believe that's true about mushrooms
for the better, in
sure.
my opinion, most of the time.
I think you could start to understand why it became the central focus of a religious
It's got
tradition.
a spiritual quality to it.
Yeah.
The best description.
I mean,
of
I had the really weird thing happen to me. Was I ended up on Venice Beach, lying on the rock jetty that juts out into the ocean.
There is
upside
no
down.
rock jetty.
There is none anymore. I was upside down, so the sea was the sky, and the sky was the sea, and I actually saw I saw birds flying out of the water with people who were issues in my life in its talons. Like it just created this narrative of, I just got to cut this shit loose, and like all that weird stuff, that introspective stuff that happens to people.
Right.
What type of fish did I swim with?
You were brought in. You were brought in as an emergency.
I want to be in your talons.
Your face was the setting sun. That's what that was. I haven't yet asked. I know that you're an atheist. I presume you're an atheist.
Sure.
And your comedy, you're one of the bold guys who talks on stage about the fact that there's no fucking God. And it's pretty beautiful.
More importantly, he talks about the fact that anybody who believes there's a God's a moron. That's the really funny part.
That's a bit more adventurous, I guess. It was when my girlfriend's she comes from 7 kids, and
it's a weird sentence.
Well, she's in a family of seven.
That makes more sense.
And she's the only one who's not religious, and the rest of her family aren't just religious; they're extraordinarily religious.
Oh, that's not good.
Like they believe in a Catholicism that is not. The modern day Pope is too liberal. They believe in a Pope from a couple of hundred years ago, a couple of thousand years ago.
Like they would prefer Mass to still be in Latin.
Yeah, exactly. All that type of stuff. And they have to have a special church. And when she was young, they didn't even have a church for it, but they used to come and do church in their living room with a few of their friends who were into it. She wasn't allowed to show above her ankles or her wrists. So
where'd she grow
up? Just outside of Vancouver.
Holy shit.
Anyway, so the point is, so now she's involved with me. Obviously, family members have Googled me and seen what I do, and so she's been getting a lot of flack for going out with me. They've never met me. But she, one of them said that...
They're upset she's not gay.
Yeah.
They prefer that, I think.
Yeah.
They're saying it's very obvious to us that he's doing this to make money. And this is 90
because it's that big non-religious market.
Yeah,
It's in the
exactly.
corner of that.
93% of Americans believe in a god, and I'm trying to get famous of 7% of the fucking population, and I'm the opportunist.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me. All right. Hold on. We're going to come back to that right after this break. You're listening to Ardent Atheist on Dissident Radio and available on the iTunes Store. We're about to launch our new... No, we've launched our new premium service. That's exactly right, and we want to know what you think. So give us an email. Drop us an email at Emory@ardentatheist.com. You can subscribe to our premium service by going to ardentatheist.com/premium, and there's a button there. You can give us $7 for half a year, $10 for a year. What you get for that is you get the extra half hour that we record beyond the 1 hour that you're listening to live or free on iTunes right now. It's only $10 a year to listen to what we say after you can't hear us anymore.
That's practically worth it.
Now back to Ardent Atheist nonsense you can believe in, a line written and emailed to me by Paul Provenza. We're talking with Paul Provenza and Jim Jefferies. Again, thanks for being here, guys.
He's our hero.
So, was she an atheist when she met you?
She said she never believed, really. I think it's because it was forced so far down her throat that she never really believed in God.
Right.
I was
Does she believe in cock?
I believed in God till I was about 20. No, till I was about 15. Was like the big thing. So yeah. I was 20 years an atheist now, but I'm getting more liberal with it as time goes by. I don't care as much.
What was it? Provenza, you'll probably be able to remember what was said. It was Martin Mull on the Green Room who...
Oh, yeah. He said...
What was his sentence? It was really amazing.
He said, I've been an atheist most of my life, but as I'm getting older now and as I head towards my 70s... I'm moving closer to agnosticism.
He said I'm an agnostic, which Penn said breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And he goes, an agnostic's just an atheist in the 70s. I think that's how. Is that how he put it?
Something like that. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, I don't like agnostics. I find them to be weak.
Well, first of all,
pick a fucking side.
Well,
I prefer,
wait a minute.
I prefer
disagree
Christians to agnostics.
I disagree. I dated one for a long time, Lubna. She was an agnostic and always arguing that I was some sort of an asshole for taking this position. I realized finally, at one point, you've taken a position too.
Well, there's actually... The agnostic atheist debate is actually, I call it semantics. I think it is semantics because you either believe or you don't. If you're not sure, then you don't believe. So therefore,
I
you're
think
an atheist.
the people who say they're not sure if there is a heaven and a hell, they're going to hell anyway because they didn't commit. But it's just like that. I don't know. There might be something. There's nothing.
But
there
there
is
might be
fucking nothing. But if you believe there's something, you're a moron.
It's not really. I usually don't hear there might be something. That's not usually what agnostics say. What I'm used to hearing is we can't know. You don't know. How do you know?
Right.
And I'm not saying I know. And they're pretending like they're taking some higher ground when in fact, that's as firm a position as the fundamentalist or the atheist. It is.
I can see your point. I agree. The way that we don't know. I always say, well, we don't know in the same sense of the word know that the sun is going to rise tomorrow.
Right.
But it's a pretty safe bet
because God wills it to.
Because God wills it to.
I also see this whole thing of you don't know. There's things that we do know. We can prove that the Bible's bullshit, right? We can prove that that's not the word of God and that it's just moronic. And even just with simple jokes, you can pick it to bits and it just falls
Every
down.
well-defined religion is easily disproven.
Easily disproven.
Always.
Now, the only thing you can't argue, you can never argue the full point that there's nothing and we weren't created by a bigger being. I hate when you use the Big Bang Theory and they go, well, what? There had to be something before the Big Bang. And they give up on their 7 days. Being made in 7 day bullshit. And all of a sudden, they jump on board and go, it was 7 eras, and and God created the Big Bang. And then you go, well, who created him then? We can do this all fucking day.
Oh, no, he was eternal.
If you're able to... Yeah, if you're
the Big Bang was
able...
eternal.
That's what they do. If you're able to say that God is eternal, then jump forward where we know the universe exists and say... The universe is eternal. That's all you need to do. I mean, it's the same mathematics there, if that's what you want to do.
I don't think math's involved at all.
No, it's a lot of guesswork.
But here's an
and hoping
interesting
and
thing to me,
praying.
because Jim, you're from Australia, where it's the most atheist country.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Earth.
No one really gives a shit about God.
There's a turn going
when
lately,
you,
though.
when you were in Australia, did material about that stuff matter
I
to you
only-
at all,
I only
or was
did
that
it-
only when you realized there were other countries where it mattered?
When I go to Australia, I don't do as many religious routines as I say would in the UK or here. In saying that, the UK like the jokes, they never get angry about them because most UK people are pretty laxed about their religion
Yeah,
if they are religious. And in Australia, our Prime Minister's an atheist. And she's just like, oh, no, of course there's no God.
You really?
And I don't think there could be a president who is an atheist in this country because they just wouldn't get voted in.
There will be eventually.
I
Because
hope
There has been.
20 years. There has been.
There has been, but no one's admitted it.
That's what I think, too.
We're getting closer. Obama just
20 years ago, we couldn't possibly have had a black president.
made an announcement that he believes that gays should have.
Now
rights
the
to get
problem is
married.
finding a black atheist.
a blatheist.
A blatheist.
A blatheist.
Yeah, let's not try and force too much down Americans' throats at once.
Seriously.
Let's get a Mexican president.
A gay black atheist.
A gay black atheist.
Yeah.
Blagatheist.
Old gacky.
Oh, Jackie.
Yeah, we're not going to have that in our
Well, see, I
lifetime.
think Clinton would have been. Clinton's too smart a guy. No matter what you think of his political thing, he's a smart guy.
You think he was an atheist?
Of course he
Of course he is.
Yeah.
He's got to play the game. Huh?
There is
A lot of
no
people
way
think
in
that,
the world.
and I think this isn't true. This isn't my opinion, but a lot of people think that Obama is an atheist.
Yeah, but he's
he
had
is
some
too.
religious pictures of him, some muzzied up pictures when he was younger and stuff. I think he's dabbled in religion when he was younger, and I think now he's come out the other side. I think he's probably an atheist as well.
Yeah, he's too much of a rationalist.
Yeah.
There are skeptics who believe in God and believe in something.
Yeah, but
they're
then you get into
fucking
that.
morons, aren't they?
But then you get into that territory
love
of, well,
about
I don't
Jefferies.
believe in any religion. I don't believe in the God of the Bible, but I believe there's something. And you go, but yeah, that's what I believe in too. It's here, it's everywhere.
Well,
but,
the next
but,
religion to come along will be that spiritual bullshit that we're hearing from,
I tell you when I'll believe in God. I don't need to see God. I don't need to see him come down from the heavens or anything like that. All I want is for some alien contact one day, right? Some alien spaceship to come down, and I'm not even going to be amazed by them. But if they have the same God as us, I'm fucking in.
Right.
I'm in.
There's a good chance they could become gods.
Yeah.
If a God actually existed, don't you think every single person on the planet would know?
Yeah, no, this is the whole thing. Every your religion's depicted by which country you were born in.
Right.
And that's God doesn't.
That's all you need to know. If you step back, look at the global situation,
Yeah.
it becomes immediately obvious it's all inheritance.
Yeah. You can't go, look, all the Muslims are going to die because they're stupid and they were born in the desert, where us smart white people were here and we had this one, and they're all thinking, those stupid white people, it's just never going to work out. And the fact is that you get races like the Aboriginals in Australia who just had the most bullshit religion ever. They had the most bullshit religion ever when they were found. It was like so basic that even Aboriginals now sort of go, oh yeah, it's not a good one.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Aboriginal religion didn't really involve gods. It involved a thing called the dream time. And the dream time is basically just mythological stories about how shit was created.
But didn't they also have their own hallucinogens as well? That they use in rituals, which all sort of feed into that?
Carver and stuff like that and stuff. But they're like, okay, so I'll give you an exact story from the dream time, which wasn't written down anywhere. It was only passed on through generations because they were still hunters and gatherers. They hadn't even had farming or the written word or anything when they were found. You'll go, where was this river from? The Murray River, the big river in Australia, right? And they'll go, there was this. It was a frog, right? And this is an exact story. I'm not making this up. The frog was like really thirsty and drank a lot of water, and then it drank too much water.
It's pissed,
and it vomited, and that's where the river came from.
It's like a lot of the Chinese myths.
It's just fucking. It's lazy storytelling. First of all,
it's not been fact checked.
Not enough to. How did the kangaroo got its tail? Oh, well, what happened was they used to just stand there and just move very slowly, and the hunters could get them really easily. And then there was this one kangaroo that was slightly faster than all the other ones that just stood there. So a hunter threw a spear at him, that landed in his ass, and then skin grew over that, and then he had a tail. and that's how, and he could
And he
run,
had a tail.
and that's how kangaroos
It's
got
like
tails.
it's like Aesop's fables. It's like
Right.
It reminds me of Rabbit in the Hare, or Rabbit in the
Yeah, it's all that
Hare and the
kind of
Turtle,
stuff.
or whatever the hell that.
And we had to learn it in school for cultural reasons, and I kind of get that,
Right.
because you got to learn about where your country's from, that type of stuff. History.
You got to learn about the people that you displaced.
Yeah.
So that
But you know that
could
does
have
bring
it.
up another thing that's really
I didn't have to learn much
frustrating
about
is that-
Indians.
Is that yeah? Well, that's because it's America. But
Hi, hello, all right, yeah.
plus, it happened like last week in
How?
Australia. But
It is a relatively new.
it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but we don't. At least we
there's
don't
a-
have that facade of Thanksgiving where you guys like we had a lovely meal with them. What,
Yeah.
what happened the next week?
We gave them blankets.
What happened was, yes, that's right. The white people went, listen, we got some cold cuts left over and these blankets. Take them, please. We can't use them all.
Two things on the wall. They're arguing about what religion Obama is, whether he's an atheist,
He's not an atheist. He
or a
goes to
Christian or a
church.
Muslim.
Right?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Anybody who thinks he's a fucking Muslim is a fucking moron.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, all
You're an
right.
idiot.
Okay.
If you're on my wall and you think he's a Muslim, fuck you. I'll
Inshallah.
rape your face next time I see you.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Don't you talk that
Inshallah.
way about
And,
Barack Hussein Obama.
Whitney Houston is 48. Was 48.
48,
Oh, 48.
was 48, and a shit swimmer.
Yeah,
But
she's,
I think
I was
everything you
upset
need
when
to know,
she died because I
Why
thought
were
she
you
was. I thought she was already dead. So
You're like, damn it, I thought.
I went. That's 2 times for me. You people don't know the pain.
she's in a better place.
Obviously.
I think all religions basically are cargo religions.
You know about
Pretty
cargo
much.
cults, right, Jim?
I know about cargo pants.
Cargo cults are very similar to cargo pants in that they're bullshit. Cargo cults sprung up, jump in, Prevens, if I get anything wrong here, sprung up after the war when these indigenous people who didn't have contact with, and it's happened numerous occasions, as many as like 30.
We're talking about Indonesia, New Guinea. We're talking about
Over
about-
on the South Pacific
yeah,
Rim and
where
all
there
this.
were a lot of primitive
Island
tribes.
primitive tribes saw these guys come in, take over their island, build these air landing strips, put up these things where they put on the headphones and they
Technology, basically.
Technology rolls in, and all of a sudden, planes are going over and dropping manna, air quotes, from the sky down to these soldiers, and then all of a sudden, boom, the war's over, bomb, they're gone. It's all over. Planes aren't coming anymore. There's no food and there's no stuff being dropped. They never saw anybody making food. They never saw anybody growing food. They never saw anybody making their uniforms. They saw them come out of these cargo boxes that were dropped from planes. Now, jump forward, these people have developed a fucking religion where they take and they carve headphones out of coconuts, and they build out of bamboo these
Basically,
landing strips.
It's Gilligan's
and shit.
Island, basically.
It is. It's
There's
completely
big
Gilligan's
bamboo
Island.
planes,
And they
sit
sit right
and
back
worship,
and,
and all the
And they're praying that these gods, these big planes, will deliver them these goods.
Yeah, here's the thing, though.
30 plus times
Here's
this has happened
the thing,
independently.
Though. They'll be back. They will definitely be back.
Eventually, the second coming will occur. Have you heard of this?
No, it's fascinating though.
It tells you everything.
What type of places in the world are we talking about?
We're talking about the South Pacific, you know.
Well,
where-
see, this is this whole idea of like when you meet some American fucking 19-year-old chick who should be enjoying her life, going, "I'm going to become a missionary down in Butterbutt," and it's like if you have to travel in a plane to a place to tell them about your God, then it's just not plausible because they should already know about your God if he's almighty and all great. He should have gotten his fucking message out there himself.
Right.
Let alone the whole... What's happened?
Nothing. Keep talking.
The whole premise... Wait a minute, is there a plane going over the top?
Nope. No plane.
No one can hear the
No
plane.
cargo cults.
Oh,
No confusion whatsoever.
something's going on.
Keep talking.
Hope it's one of ours.
We're just resetting the camera.
If there is a God, which one would you enjoy? Which one would you like to have?
None of them.
None of them.
The Christian
No,
God
you have
is
to
one of
have
the
one.
most-
You have to have one.
You want me to pick one?
I'd take Buddha.
Well, Buddha's all right with me. Now, a lot of people say that's not a god; it's a philosophy.
That's you're Americans and you're into fat cunts.
Well, come on, let's
You should have seen his face. Just
let's
now.
debunk that bullshit. I mean, is it religion?
Buddhism is religion. I don't know if Buddha is.
Well, hang on a second, because Buddhism means a lot of different things. You know, there's a different Buddhism in Japan than there is in China. In parts of China have many different kinds of Buddhism. Vietnam has a different Buddhism. They're actually really...
All
some
right.
of them are... Some of
Okay,
them,
the ones that
then you're
believe-
proving it's a fucking religion.
The ones that believe in reincarnation, anything that has an afterlife is a fucking religion.
right.
Okay, well there you go.
What about those people
And
who
the thing
believe
is-
that marijuana is a religion?
Name me It doesn't have an afterlife. Not a religion.
You don't need one.
Name me one religion that doesn't have an afterlife. Because there should be. See, if God created the whole world and He came down and He said, love me, cherish me, praise me. I just created this wonderful world for you, but there's no afterlife. But enjoy this. Would people still go to church? And the answer is fucking no.
Right. Well, I say this. Listen, if we have the technology, if we terraform another planet, say Mars, which probably isn't the run, but let's say Mars for discussion's sake, we terraform it, and we don't even put life there as we are now. But let's just say we just plant the seeds of life, just to as an evolutionary experiment, which I think is a great idea. So we put on it bacteria and other forms of microscopic life.
And we're lucky records enough for millennia.
Well, we're lucky enough to live for another couple billion years. Let's say, for example, just for the sake of discussion. And
I want to be there at the end, though.
I'd
love the world to end. I wouldn't feel a sense of panic or anything. If we all went at once, meteorite coming down, fucking.
That to me.
I'm with you on this.
I can't wait for some sort of an apocalypse. I can't wait.
I don't feel sorry for anyone. If we all go at once, fucking enjoyed the ride.
I can't wait till 2013 when, all the people thinking that the world's going to end
I thought
in
it was
December
this year. I thought it was
2012. Yeah, I want
2012,
2013 to come so that all those people can shut the fuck up.
But they never do. They just switch to another pile of bullshit.
We've got smarter
They're
people
bullshit
now.
pile
We've got
hoppers.
smarter people and a lot more atheists to shove it in their face.
Yeah. The atheism movement is a good thing, I think.
Hey, Emery, will you check? Do you know the religion Jainism?
Yeah, I know about Jainism.
Jainism.
Isn't it the
original? Look it up.
original?
Will you see is there an afterlife in Jainism?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'd
Kids
like
on the
to
wall.
find one without an afterlife.
Kids on the wall.
What about somebody on the wall will look it up?
You need the reward to go to church. You need the thing to give the money. You need the guilt. You need the...
Right. You got to sell them the Polaroid so they come back and buy the film.
Yeah, you need the little present at the end.
What about a religion? Well, now, listen, I want to get back, because I'm going to get emails on this fucking discussion
Sure.
if I don't get back to the philosophy versus religion thing on Buddhism. People say there's no God in it, and therefore it's not a religion. Now, you've done an interesting thing, and I've never seen it done before, and I shouldn't be surprised. You're brilliant. You've just said, is there an afterlife? Then it's a fucking religion. So you're claiming that it is a religion because of that. What about the no God thing? Does that help you at all? Is that one of the reasons that you go, I'm okay
I don't
with
know.
that one?
Wait a minute. Does Buddhism have a reincarnation aspect? Or is that's
Hinduism.
Hinduism?
It's all about reincarnation, Buddhism, isn't it?
It's all about
that's Hinduism.
No. Well, fuck me. God, I need a Buddhist in here.
They're all the same, Paul.
I just want to know. I just want to know which door I'm supposed to be at.
Yeah, as soon as you start making them individuals, you give them a face. That's how Hitler would have stopped. You can't go along like that. You got to commit.
How about we judge these religions on their food? Hinduism's not so bad. I like Hinduism. I don't know what Buddhists taste like.
Baptists have great food.
Sikh are the
Fried
ones that
chicken.
don't eat beef. That's retarded.
Yeah.
Any of the vegetarian ones are silly.
Yeah, you're a meat eater.
Yeah, I reckon if it was good enough for Jesus. I always like side with Jesus when it suits me. Like if I'm drunk, I'm like, Jesus used to drink.
Jesus hung out with a hooker.
Yeah, Jesus hung out with a hooker. Anything that Jesus did where I can work him into the good bit of my life.
Well, it's possible Jesus didn't even exist,
It's probable.
It's probable he didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of evidence that suggests that he's just an amalgamation of a bunch of other previously invented deities.
Yes,
right.
That's what I think.
Well,
is
we know
probably
that. We know the reincarnation story, the Genesis story, all that stuff. It's just recycled.
Are you aware that in
thousands of
Genesis
years.
God created mankind? Then He created Adam and Eve.
I'm not aware of that.
That's exactly how it fucking reads. And the way they escape it, I think they claim that the two stories need to be looked at together. I mean, they bend over the fucking intellectual
They've
calisthenics.
changed the wording in the Bible several times, haven't they, over the course of...
Yes, and then there was the Council of Nicaea that determined that all these Gospels that had been in use for countless hundreds of years...
Didn't Abraham, after he didn't give his son to God, the one that was meant to go up the hill?
Yeah.
Didn't, the next day, didn't he go, fuck his daughter?
You know what? I love the idea. Hold on, Provenza. I love the idea of going, let's come back to fuck his daughter after this break. You're listening to Ardent Atheist on New Dissident Radio and available on the iTunes store.
Oh, bad timing. We want
Really?
to talk to everyone about Camp Quest. Camp Quest is a secular summer camp. Yeah, kids. For kids from 18... I'm sorry. See, you fucked me up. It's a secular summer camp for kids from 8 to 17, and they've got camps all over the U.S. They have your traditional camp activities like archery, hiking, and crafts, but they add games that promote critical thinking, humanism, and free thought. If you have kids, you should send them to Camp Quest this July. Camp Quest could also use your help because there are families who cannot afford to send their kids. So visit tinyurl, that's tinyurl.com/Ardent Camp.
You got that one. Nice.
Shut up. To learn more and help out the underprivileged free thinkers of tomorrow.
That's right. Visit tinyurl.com/Ardent Camp. I checked in the other day to see if any of our listeners had gone to that link to check out to see what they could do. Zero. Not one fucking person, and we've been doing this for a couple of months now. So fuck all of you if you're not going to go give.
Hey.
Sorry. That's not how you do it?
No.
And now back to Ardent Atheist. Nonsense you can believe in. We're talking with Jim Jefferies and Paul Provenza, and I think the last sentence was, Jim, where were we?
I heard somewhere, I haven't read it, I'm not going to lie to you and say I've read the story, but I heard after Abraham took his son up the hill, and that was always one of those God ones where God was like, kill your kid. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I was just screwing with you.
Yeah.
It was the original bait and switch.
Yeah, it's the whole I love you no matter what, but and then I heard like to celebrate he went down and fucked his daughter or something.
I didn't know this.
Check on that.
Somebody on the wall. Did Abraham, to celebrate the fact that he didn't have to kill his son, go down and sleep with his daughter?
Now the reason I'm asking this is I haven't killed my son.
Yet.
Yeah. I don't even have one.
But now you want to have one just to kill him.
Yeah, so I can fuck my
Well, first you
future
want to
daughter.
snip the tip of his penis off. then.
So I can fuck my future daughter, he said.
There's
We're
the,
not walking on that punchline.
There's the Lot story where
You're talking about Job? No, that's not. No.
I'm talking about this Lot story where all these travelers came to his home, and
Yes.
you're
that's
supposedly as an
Let
early
us
Christian,
in. We want to. Yeah.
Well,
the emissions of donkeys.
Well,
they
the
were-
thing is that they're supposed to be invited in. They're supposed to be entertained, and that includes sleeping with
Wasn't that
with the host
their daughters?
The two angels that came down and they wanted to rape the angels.
That's right.
And
That's a
he's like,
different-
don't
that's-
rape my angels. Have my
yes.
daughter and my concubine or whatever.
Yes, but there's all this right.
Rape my angels.
There's all these references to hospitality and travelers and all that sort of stuff, and the mode of the day was sure, help yourself, have a snack, get yourself something to drink, fuck my kids.
See,
The Muslims are a little like that still, aren't they?
Modern day isn't as good as it was.
I have a great.
Those were the days.
I have a great question. This wasn't on the wall, but it was somewhere else on Facebook I saw. If God was invented by humans, then why do so many biblical stories involve his punishment of humans that went astray? Wouldn't humans rather create a God that allows them to get away with whatever they want?
If I was
not the
if
ones
I was,
that want to scare the shit out of you,
I-
so
That's
you
exactly
keep
right.
giving them money.
Right.
if I was created by my parents, why do I want to punch them so much?
Because you're evil.
See what I mean?
I got to say, I don't even believe your parents exist. I've never seen them.
No.
I don't have any reason to believe you have.
What's your
If you got Google Maps, you can see my mum real quick.
Really?
She's a big girl.
I'm on it.
and they make her sleep in the backyard.
When she sits around the house.
What's your favorite family story? Like the one that makes most people go, I don't believe this, while they're gasping.
My
laughing.
favourite family story is probably the Gunter story. Is the most quoted one because it's simple and it's succinct. But my story, not like stand-up story, like an actual story about my family.
Just a great story, because I've only heard the few stand-up pieces.
Well, most of them involve me being beaten, like a lot. Right? I don't know if I want to tell one of those.
Were you
stories.
molested?
No wonder you talk like that.
Not by my parents.
No, I mean by anybody as a kid. Did you suffer that wrath?
There was a scoutmaster in an incident, and
How did he fare?
well, he doesn't call anymore.
That's a shame.
I was never molested by anybody in the church. I went to Catholic school and everything. And let me tell you, that fucks with a kid's self-esteem.
Yeah, it does.
Seriously.
You became a good-looking adult. I was a good-looking child.
My uncle fucked me for 9 solid years. Well, not solid years. on and off.
Again, we have to talk about this.
Your uncle,
Wait, Jim, do you know this line? Tell Jim my favorite line of yours.
That's the worst setup I've ever seen.
It doesn't matter. These
I
are all
know, it's
these
all
people are
fucking
all on
around.
the inside. The people that are listening.
They all, yeah, and the
My
listeners all
uncle-
know this joke. My uncle, he started molesting me at 5, and it went until I was 14. It was 9 years. Longest relationship I've ever been in. I will never forget the night he dumped me.
And do you are you still on talk? Okay, sorry.
I never forget the night he dumped me. He came into my room, woke me up at 3 a.m, and said, "I think we should see other relatives." Started fucking my sister. My sister stole my uncle. We had other uncles. Why did she take mine? That's
Jealous.
the bit. There you go.
Jealous.
And have you forgiven your uncle? Do you talk to him at all now? Is
Well,
he still...
he's a worthless piece of shit right wing asshole. So for that reason, I don't talk to him.
Let's get him on the show.
But I did for a while. I talked to him for a while, and I forgave him, and
was he a good
he
fuck?
asked for apology.
Was
and
he a good fuck?
He made me come a lot. I don't have any complaints about what
that's
happened.
not worth
as a kid.
nothing.
No, I got a good tight couple of jokes out of it.
He never made me come.
Did he ever serve time?
No, at all.
Aren't you worried that he'll do it to someone else?
I am not, actually. I'm not. And I went through this a lot, talking to family members who were in touch with his children to find out if it was continuing, and we have no reason to believe that it continued beyond
Because
my
friend, were
sister
some
and me.
sweet, tight little
It was
boy
all about
booty.
me.
But how can you think that? Why would it not continue beyond your sister and you? Like,
Who does the joke in London about this? There's an English comic who does the only way to solve this.
Oh, it's Simon Munnery.
Simon Munnery, is he the one that says we
yeah.
got to kill the victim?
Yes.
Because I don't buy into that hysteria, if you will, Jim, because it demonizes the victim to say that because that's where that comes from.
Well,
the legacy problem.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm victimized by it. By when people find out I'm molested, they
worry
immediately
that
wonder
you're
that I'm
going
going to
to-
molest.
Yeah,
because
I don't
statistics say
like that. Yeah.
The same thing goes the other direction about if someone molested. Statistics say they're probably going to just have a molest. Unless there's proof, I just don't like to go down that road, and I just don't see any indication that my uncle was molesting other people besides my sister and I. I think also it's important to say.
I think he had his hands full.
Yeah, well,
And was this-
hey, I'm polyamorous. It's hard to have more than two.
Was this on your mother's or father's side?
I believe Chester, my
mother's side.
molester, is in jail right now.
And your mother,
Oh, really?
and how does your mother feel about this? Is she still in contact with her brother?
Horrified, but she's still in contact. She's got this kind of awful
My
relationship.
parents haven't. My auntie and my mother haven't talked for 5 years because one of them called the other one fat.
All right, Mom, are you listening? My mom listened to this show.
It doesn't matter that her husband may have fucked her sister's kids.
And the thing is, they're both fat.
Yeah.
It's like this wasn't even a problem. It's not like your mum started fucking his kids just to make it even.
Right. I don't know. My mom has a lot of issues that she's been working through. She's now an atheist. She's come out of this. She's out of the fog and in this wonderful, bright, really, really clear place now, and it's nice. And she's kind of stopped having a lot of interaction with Toby, the uncle, but including her sister. Her sister's a psycho. It's a fucking family of psychos, really. And my mom's got her head screwed on finally in a good way.
He said screwed.
So it's all right. It's all right. The uncle's an idiot, and he's one of those classic white trash Republican, struggling poor. His family keeps popping out the kids and keeps signing up for the fucking food stamps
Who
and
doesn't
screaming
believe- who doesn't believe in
for the
estate
Republicans.
taxes?
Right? Exactly.
I have
It's
a-
so retarded.
Question off the subject. Shall I? Have you ever believed in spirituality? Were you ever spiritual or anything like that? Did you air quotes?
Yeah, I
call
didn't
yourself
ask Jim
spiritual?
how you were
yeah.
raised either. Jim, how were
I
you?
was raised Christian, Church of England, as they call it in Australia.
Christian light.
Yeah, Church of England, pretty easy old one.
There's a lot of good in that, I think. If
I
there's going to be
think-
religion and it's
you know-
prescribed by the state,
I think it's good for kids. I think it's in the same way that you're told the boogeyman will get you. I think as a 5-year-old, it's good to know that there's good and evil and bad and right and do good things and don't hurt other people and stuff. And
Yeah,
it's
I don't agree.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I don't agree with
I will not teach my children this either. But I can see. I also think religion is good for fuckers in prison. I'm all for give them the magic man. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
Every time you see them go, I used to rape, I used to kill, I used to do awful people. Now I'm a preacher, right? That cunt needs the magic man.
Well,
right?
Well, it kind of makes sense that criminals would go into the religion business. It makes sense on a lot of levels.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying because it's a.
They've got their own tiny little mega churches right there.
But if the fear of mythology can stop someone from being a cunt, then fine. So it's good for the simple-minded and the whatever, but I don't...
Your argument falls apart when you say in prison, because it didn't. They're now in prison where they can't do any more harm, theoretically.
I know,
And
but
so-
there's people who come out and you see them on fucking...
But that actually, I think,
I'd like to see a
more
study
the-
on that.
Speaks more
Well,
to
it doesn't happen to many people.
Right.
I think most people identify as a particular religion, mostly for community reasons, and that's what happens in prison too. Is you hook up with some group, and then you got
True.
people getting your back.
Yeah, so
you
it's
know?
either religion or the skinheads, right?
Who
which
would
is-
you
there's
join?
no difference in terms of the dynamic. you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. In group, out group.
Well,
Safety, safety in
the
numbers.
skinheads are a religion. They're a religion of sorts.
Yeah, that's my point.
Is
Yeah.
it,
That
is
it's
it like,
more about it's more about being part of something. But of course, as soon as you're part of something, everything else is other, and you're right back to that same
Aren't you
problem.
worried that atheism has gotten into a degree now where we've become almost like religious people because we talk about it so much?
that's what people are always
People
saying. I
complain
want to
about
punch them in
that.
the face.
That's how does how is that the same as religion?
No, I know,
How?
but I sort of feel that part of the privilege of being an atheist is I don't have to think about it. I get,
Right.
I get my
Well,
Sundays
Johnny
off.
Dam, who runs the station, says on Sundays I'm not going to church. So if you want me to go to your fucking gathering for atheism, that's why I'm not an atheist. I'm not going. You know what? I'm an activist. I'm not. It's not religious to be opposed to something really awful. It's just not.
No, that's a bit. I that's the reason why I power on with it as well. I like to talk about it on stage because I feel passionate about that there isn't a God. But I don't think through my comedy I've converted anybody.
I would hope that you wouldn't
No,
want
probably
to
not.
necessarily. You know what I think you've done? I think you've given people a place to go, a solace.
You give people license.
A license to
Yeah, and
say to other
hopefully
people.
I've given them some funny little tools to bring up in an argument.
Yeah, and you know the truth is that there's a lot of people who no matter what we do, we're preaching to the choir to twist a
Can we rewrite
an
that
analogy
fucking
here.
phrase?
But
I'm sick of that
Preaching to the classroom.
what you do
Molesting
though, is,
to the family.
but what you're doing is you're forgetting that not a lot of people are members of the choir. That there are a lot of people in the audience who, like you say, don't really give enough of a shit to ever have thought about it before. And all of a sudden, they can reframe it to go, you know what? I guess I am an atheist, and that's how you build numbers.
That's
and all
why
that
we're
stuff.
building. I don't think we're creating atheists. I think we're pulling people out of the atheism closet by being public, and I think it's a good thing. More after this break about that. You're listening to Ardent Atheist on Dissident Radio and available in the iTunes Store. And now a special announcement.
This is a big super shout out to a few of our listeners: Eric Knight, Kyle Delaney, Cliff Hughes, Matt Robinson, Jesse Settigren, Joseph Swam, Jarrett Lennon Kaufman, Philip May, Herbert Reagan, Shelby Melvin, Don DiNatale, I think, Mark Nowitzki, Aaron Mayberry, Gerald Hoffman, Kyle Delaney, Adrian Hake, Karen Evasar. These are just a few people. Mike Grimm, Andrew Huber, Brian Lotz, Amanda McAlpin, Randy Thomas, Joe Earps, Bruce S. Springsteen, born in the U.S. fucking A, Alex Stein, Brad McIntyre, Jarrett Wilt, Rick McJustice, Demetrios Balbalis, and Iman Calso.
Joe Earps is my favorite.
Joe Earps. These were all the people chatting on the Wall of Reason last week. We would not have a great show without you, no matter how your name is mispronounced.
And
Thank
Joseph
you.
Swam's really great on my Twitter feed. I
he's
like when he
wonderful.
pops in.
And now back to Ardent Atheist, nonsense you can believe in. We're talking with Jim Jefferies and Paul Provenza. Thanks again, guys, for being here. And I interrupted you, Jim. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know what I was going to say. I was listening to a lot of names.
It's a lot of names.
We like to encourage people to come listen live. It makes a big difference.
Let's get back to Abraham fucking his daughter, just
Abraham.
because I like that. But
Oh my God.
I
Lincoln?
I'm
find out
trying
if
to
that
think
happened?
Okay, my source isn't as reliable as it may be. I've just remembered who told me that.
Oh shit! Don't tell me it was Jason.
Tom Stade.
You know, Stade isn't.
I don't know.
We were both drunk. You don't know Tom Stade? Brilliant comic, Tom Stade.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic, but I don't know if he knows a lot
Just
about that kind of
listen,
thing.
Jimmy. This is what's going down. When Abraham had the daughter was going to get killed, but he didn't kill the daughter, so he went off and he fucked his kids.
fucked his kids.
He's fucking his kids there, Jimmy.
I was having an argument.
Frighteningly good, Tom Stade.
That was really good. I was having an. We got to get Stade on the show. Is he in L.A. ever?
No, he's in.
No,
he's in
just
London. He was in Edinburgh.
just telling with the ice prince that she's using my children against me. That's what he says about his wife. all the
Right.
time.
You know, we have Andrew Maxwell coming in to do a pre-record for our new podcast, Skeptically Yours, tomorrow.
I was out with Andrew Maxwell last night. Actually, I had dinner with him. He was as knowledgeable as ever.
He's really amazing.
And he's been doing this stuff for the BBC where he debunks a whole bunch of conspiracy theorists, 9/11 theorists, all that sort of stuff.
Well, that's why James Inman is flying in from Kansas City specifically to be in the studio.
Well, James Inman should do that to get some fucking airtime.
I'm not really a 9/11 conspiracist. There's only a couple of things about 9/11 where I get a bit conspiracy, and they are why was there no black boxes? Because I believe the planes hit the buildings and that type of stuff, but why do they fucking just take the black boxes away and then lie? Just say that we don't want you to hear the recordings. And the passport that flitted down all by itself of one of the guys is a load of bullshit as well.
Yeah, there's some weird. The weird thing about that is that we mistrust anything that comes from the government so much now that it's plausible that we have to actually look at all those theories and debunk them or not because it's conceivable.
Right.
That's the really disturbing thing. Is
First
thing I think of first thing I thought of whenever I heard any of these theories begin to emerge was, well, I wouldn't put it past the bastards.
Well, no, I mean, that's why it works. That's why these ideas and these arguments, the anti-vaxxers, the 9/11 shit, the moon landing. Come on, really? Joe Rogan? What the fuck? He's so smart. He's so smart. And he thinks that we didn't go to the fucking moon.
Wow.
Oh, that's the difference
What's
between
wrong
him
with
and
him?
Inman.
What do you mean?
Well, Joe Rogan's smart.
Well, I don't know.
I'm kidding, Jim.
There's 10% of me that thinks they didn't go to the moon.
You're kind of 10% on this?
10% on it, yeah.
Why? Have you looked at the evidence?
I believe there's more evidence that they didn't go to the moon than there is that there is a God.
Whoa, you stunned me.
Oh,
I'm standing stunned.
People on the wall are going, wait, what, new podcast? They didn't know this was coming.
I know. I've talked a little about it.
How much are you going to head him up for on that one, premium?
The premium for that one, since it's a skeptic cod pat. What the fuck?
But see, this is the thing with Andrew Maxwell. Andrew Maxwell, he was talking about the 9/11 and the thing. He's taking the view that everything we get told is true and that these people are complete loons. And so that's when I was sort of going, so you're saying that everything we heard about 9/11 is true. Everything's completely true.
Right.
I believe that 90% of it's true and 10% of it we were fed to make it all
God damn it. You're flying out tomorrow morning, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
God damn it. I wish I could get him in here with the Maxwell.
Well, I will never take at 100% anything that the government or any government agency says is the truth. So there's a certain amount of skepticism in that as well. You need to be skeptical on both sides.
I sat down and listen. I sat down with a 9/11 conspiracy theorists who believes wholeheartedly the whole inside job angle, right? And I said, okay, I want you to present the evidence. I'm ready. I've got Google here in front of me. I've got my own faculties. Let's actually have a conversation about it. And we did. We talked at length about it. And line by line, point by point, it was made. This was made. This happened. This happened. And I'll give you a quick example. For example, I'll give you a quick example. She said and I'm an ex-firefighter, so I had a little bit of knowledge to pull on in this particular point. But she said that the building, when it collapsed, that doesn't make any sense because the beams, the melting point, and blah blah blah. We all know this bullshit story about the melting point of the structural integrity of this building is way 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 higher than how hot it all gets when you burn jet fuel. Right? That's the claim. It doesn't have to fucking melt. It has to be fatigued. That's all it has to do to start the process.
Right.
And you say that to a 9/11 conspiracy theorist, at least in this particular occasion, I said that, and she goes, okay, forget that point. Let's go to this one. Every fucking point that we went down, I gave her reasonable explanations or debunked the bad math that was being utilized.
What about building number 7? Why did it fall? I can't figure that one out. I'm not saying it did.
I'm with you on I can't figure it out. I don't have an answer for that. I do not have an answer. But that's the only thing. It was the only point why building 7 fell 3 or 8 hours later. I can't remember.
Well, you do have a network of gas pipes and water pipes.
That
and
was
all
always
kinds of
that was my
stuff.
response at the time.
I mean, there's a lot going on that a lot of buildings are connected into. So there's that's not out of the realm of possibility for me to just say, yeah, something might have blown up in that building. But I don't even know all the details. All I know is I don't believe anybody.
Well, there are explanations that I've seen about shrapnel making it to that, and it was a slow burn all day, and it finally. That's what I heard, and then there's footage, but they dismiss it. When you talk to someone,
you should talk to Andrew when you get him up here. Talk to him about the BBC show he did. In fact, See if he can send you a link to it.
That's what he's filming while he's out here.
He's doing one about UFOs this time around, but he already did one on 9/11.
9/11?
Where he put everybody on a bus and they went to experts and
Did
and
a
it was
lot of
basically
things.
the show really was all about when are people going to let go of their fast held beliefs. That's really what the show's about.
Right.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, he might have the filming crew in here tomorrow for the taping too.
That would be great. Then people will believe in you.
Yeah.
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 Well, I think
Hey, here's a question. Here's an argument about that I
you got
often hear.
you literally have 60 seconds to finish this argument. We're almost out of time for this part of the show.
See how fast
no,
that
actually,
went?
no, you don't, because we're going to do another half hour.
Yeah.
So
Well, here's the thing: is that people
let's
always
build a cliffhanger.
I've heard this argument made all the time that more people have died in the name of atheism than have died in the name of religion.
This is
First
something
of
I wanted
all,
to
I
talk
don't
about.
believe that the math is right on that.
No.
But second of all, what's that about? Is that about Stalin and Hitler?
Yeah.
So that's not really
But that
about
wasn't
atheism.
in the name of atheism.
Yeah, that's-
He just happened to be an atheist.
Is that the
But
source
Hitler
of that
wasn't even an
argument?
atheist.
Is that the source of that argument?
is what it
Stalin
is.
and Hitler?
Stalin, Pol Pot. You got the North Korean atheist guy, which isn't a. He's
So
a
it's really
fucking-
a function of communism and
Right. They think we're all communists, so we want a communist.
And let's be very clear.
World.
You know about this. Hitler wasn't a fucking atheist. There's no to call Hitler an atheist. Really, what's happening, by the way, when they do this shit, is all they're really saying is, we think.
Well, no. Hang on, I have to object to that. It's not that Hitler was an atheist, but National Socialism was not responsive to religion. The idea was that if you can worship another god, that's less worship for the Führer. So National Socialism did in fact squelch religion. It may not have been that Hitler was an atheist, but National Socialism was anti-religion.
I don't think that Hitler was an atheist, but I think we can all agree that he was an optimist.
Well, it doesn't get any better to cut the free show with a line than that.
He'd be all over.
He'd be
it.
huge.
He'd be twittering
Well,
all day.
He was the only savior out of thousands.
Well, that would be great.
Unless he's an amalgam out
What
of
if he
different
is?
religions.
What if he's at? What if Charlie Sheen is Jesus?
Sold a whole lot of people some bread.
But why Jesus?
LOL.
Andy,
Hashtag love,
Andy.
love your father.
Yes,
Andy.
Heather.
Why Jesus?
Well, like I said, because he's right there.
But
because it's on
there's
every corner.
so
I can
many
turn
other
out. There's a
places you could
Presbyterian
turn.
church.
'Cause he was-
Like,
I'm
well,
surprised
no,
you're not
it's
Buddhist,
just
Andy. I'm
he was-
surprised you're not
but
Buddhist.
it's like a 7-Eleven store on every corner. There's a church on every.
Convenient.
It's convenient, and
You
and
should
I'm
go
not,
for
I'm not
Allah.
kidding. It's convenient.
I like Alan, the Muslim.
But I
Muslim
want
one.
which one?
Alan and his mate Mo.
Alan and Mo.
Alan and Mo.
Alan
Alan and
Mo.
Mo are big favourites of mine. And the Asian one, Bubba. I like him as well.
You like Bubba?
Bubba, Alan and Mo.
The
my-
Three
Stooges.
Stooges. Yeah.
Nice, Rick. Nice. Oh, that's great. Yeah, because it's the last.
whatever country you're born in. It's like we have a God that likes white people for the most part. He likes Australia, America, Canada. These are the countries. He made the whole world,
Yeah.
but then he selected the countries he likes.
Like
And
English
then
and
those
Latin.
he made those other people, the coloured people that look different, and they follow wacky gods that they've just made up. They're not smart like us.
I have a
Unless
picture.
they're Chinese.
I have a picture. I have a black Jesus. I have a picture of a black Jesus on a cross, and from Africa. It's a black Jesus.
We don't say colored here. It's nigger.
Yeah.
Oh,
In case
I
you're
was,
worried.
I was trying to do a sarcastic thing about how, and then you have to drop the N word.
I
did
pray.
I
I
say
pray
that?
to.
It's
I pray.
naggers.
It's naggers.
I pray to a jigaboo Jesus. I pray to that picture.
Oh, there'd be
Sounds
a
like a
lot of-
song, too.
My nigger Jesus.
Yeah, he doesn't look like anything that in theory, he didn't look like anything that appears on the toast.
Yeah.
He's
So-
a short Jew. That's what he'd be.
He was short Jew,
Short
but
Jew.
darker skin, right?
Arab, yeah.
He'd be Arab.
Arab, short Jew.
Yeah.
Sand nigger.
Sand nigger.
He's my
Well, you
sand
saw-
nigger Jesus.
You saw Zeitgeist, right? You said that
I
a
did
lot of
see it.
Christianity is
I
an
did see
amalgam
it.
of the
Zeitgeist,
Mithra,
if I can jump in,
weather
changed her
cycles,
life.
and yeah. So, like,
Why
once
did-
again, we're getting to history, and it's starting to include physics again,
Yeah.
like weather cycles and solar cycles.
Right.
How did Zeitgeist change your life?
Heather became an atheist at the end of after watching Zeitgeist. It opened her mind up
that
to.
was part of one of the things that really opened my eyes was watching just the beginning of Zeitgeist. Just that beginning part going, whoa.
What is Zeitgeist?
Have you seen it?
It's an
Yeah, I've
internet
seen
thing.
it.
It turns crazily spiritual, and I don't mean to
It
slam
just goes,
Rick at
the
all.
sun used to be the thing that they prayed to as
Right.
it came over
Crazy
the
is-
fields and the thing.
It's basically comparing
Crazy-
all the different gods before
Oh, yeah, I did see
Jesus
that.
Christ.
Research looks
showing
like
the
crazy.
difference.
And they talk about
Research
how they
reads crazy.
all were born around Christmas, all these
Similarities, all this-
similarities.
yeah.
Yeah.
When it gets
I
to
was
be
born-
too much, you just go crazy. Ding. Stick a little label on it. Go
Right.
too much info. Ding. It's crazy.
That's
So-
what people do.
So-
Bills, they're getting closer.
Is the phone ringing over here?
Sounds like a doorbell.
Oh, I see.
It's,
Johnny Dam.
Dam's got. Is
And
that
now-
is that a church bell?
I
Does Johnny
it,
Bell
I thought it was on purpose.
Now, yeah.
I thought Heather was pressing a button.
Now we know where he got his last name from. Son of a. No worries, brother. No worries.
So
It worked.
I just don't know how. I know to say that a monarch butterfly that can flip out its wings and has two predator bird eyes looking airbrushed in with the highlight of the light in the iris of the eye to scare a large bird off. That alone, that's lazy science. To say that's an accident. Lazy science. I think that there's another science. Just keep looking, keep considering, and don't be scared when someone bags on you. Generally, I say stuff just to see who'll flip and pop. I'll say an outrageous thing just because an overreaction to a thing. Well, now I wasn't going to pursue it, but your overreaction means
Right.
I'm really going to look into it now.
But I mean, when you talk about something like a butterfly with the wing, with the eye, I mean, really, isn't that just you getting too close to the chaos and trying to make sense out of something kind of basic and simple? Really, at the end of the day,
so I shouldn't look into it.
no, you shouldn't look into it.
I think that's
That's- but
that's
the-
evolution at its best.
It is evolution at its best, and we'd
Now,
understand
what if
it.
evolution is? But I'm saying, then I take that, click, put it over here, and what if evolution is part of another process that has an intelligence behind it?
Well, a lot of people say that. A lot of
Well,
people,
look, everyone's an expert. Everyone says, I know for sure. Humanity breaks off into the curious and the not curious.
but Rick, that's not true.
The settled
not everybody
and the
says.
set.
No,
Like, I got it and I don't have it.
Atheists don't say I know.
It
for
is
sure.
scientific to keep looking. It is scientific to consider everything.
Right.
To consider everything is scientific.
What do
And
you
to say-
believe? Now, I'm
I'm
going
going to say, I know for sure that's not true. I'm not saying for sure that you're wrong.
right.
You then join the pool of things I consider.
Andy,
Yes, sir.
tell us what you believe.
Well, I grew up Christian. I had to go to church every Sunday, and now I call myself a Christian.
You do?
I do.
You go to church?
Occasionally.
You pray?
I pray my fucking ass off.
Right.
Now, for me, though, it's one of those things. What's the phrase? There are no atheists.
In foxhole?
Yeah, and I feel like my life, I throw myself.
You're
I'm
in a foxhole.
Constantly.
You don't
in a-
wanna risk
in
not
a
being-
foxhole. No, I feel like I'm hanging on by a thread. Not right this second, but a lot of times.
Yeah.
Where I just, if I didn't have something, I don't care. Look, if it's real or not.
Yeah.
In the end, to pray. When I'm laying in bed or laying on the bottom of a bathtub with the shower going,
Yeah.
praying my fucking ass off. Please just let me live, or please just take me away. Just let me die.
Well, but do you read the Bible at all?
Yeah, occasionally, and I let what I do is I let people.
So my guests today are Andy Dick, Jim Jefferies, and Rick Overton. You know these guys from showbiz.
Hello.
Hello.
We have two aristocrats in on the podcast.
I'm not on. I don't think. Am I on?
I love that cartoon.
Am I? I don't know if I am.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I can't hear you.
Can everybody
Hello.
hear Jim? Jim Jefferies, ladies and gentlemen.
I can hear myself. That'll be fine.
Yeah, let's get his headphone. Anyway, the aristocrats, Andy Dick and Rick Overton. A little bit
Yes.
of. I think.
We were both on that.
I was
movie.
never asked to do that, and I knew Paul for many months before, and it never happened. So
Right.
Very upset with that.
His
It was all
loss.
timing, or did we not? We didn't shoot you and then lose it.
No.
did we?
I didn't
Yeah.
do the aristocrats, no.
There was somebody over in Britain that we shot, and then it wasn't working. It didn't work at all. The footage was fucked up, and It wasn't you.
It wasn't me. No, it wasn't me.
Maybe it was Bernsey.
It could have been Brendan.
It was Brendan, and
Was
they
it
shot him in
Eddie?
a car, and the audio was fucked, I think, or something. Yeah, we couldn't do anything with it. So, Rick, how are you?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Thanks for having me on. Even
Well-
though I'm not technically an atheist, I appreciate you having me on the show.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
What are you?
What am I?
No.
Oh, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Before we get going, I want to talk about a couple of rules that we have on the show. As director Paul Provenza said when filming The Aristocrats, which is still available on DVD and download from Netflix, by the way, you can plug anything you want on the show as long as you make it subtle. And rule number 2, if you're a listener who's ever offended, get a sledgehammer, destroy your computer now. This show has no restrictions on language or content and certainly has nothing for you, you insipid cunt. Now, anyway, gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's talk about what we believed, kicking it right off. Jim, you were talking to Rick. Go ahead and ask him.
What are you?
Well, I don't think any book remotely covers it. I don't think any building with a certain shaped stick on top of the roof has it. But I think that there's an intelligence formatting certain things. And that chaos just looks like chaos when you're too close. It's like when you're too close to an elephant, all you see is gray wrinkles and a hair sticking out. When you back away and back away, which is just backing away and backing away is what I call curiosity.
Okay.
Right. But
And consideration.
Some chaos up close is just chaos, though.
Because you just defined it, because it's up close. Some chaos up close is chaos.
And you're saying if we get far enough away, it's not chaos.
Every piece of chaos forms a pattern.
I see.
I had in my childhood on one side of a Thanksgiving table all theological people, and their rebelling other side all physicists. And I thought there must be a way to combine the two.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of my life wondering, how did a butterfly...
Hold on, let's find these bells.
It's the church bell.
repeat back to you those words rather than I go look on my own.
Well, I think all of us maybe not.
That's the entire difference.
No, that's true. That's the thing about the Christianity thing. My dad grew up, his family was Jewish. I was adopted into this family. My mom was Christian. My dad just never went to church and never did anything with the temple, anything. And then later on, he became a Christian. I'm kind of just following in my dad's steps. And I said, you never went to church your whole life with us, and then all of a sudden, right when he was about to die, he became this Christian.
Right.
Well, anyways, and I said, why? And he said, well, because it's just right there, and it's just easy. And I'm with you. I'm looking for my God. I just call myself a Christian because it's convenient, and if I do want to pray, I do pray to Jesus.
But you are you're prick. I'm sorry.
But
you are prick.
All right.
You are pricking and choosing. You're picking and choosing, though. I mean, because you're an openly bisexual. I'm openly bisexual.
Right.
Both of us are going straight to fucking hell.
Oh, I didn't know this when I came in for this show. This isn't, I may be an atheist, but I still have morals.
Well, I don't think
Jeff
that,
has a bit about putting something in his ass. I wish I could remember what it was.
I don't think
Right.
I don't think that being bisexual has anything to do with God. I don't think God would frown upon it, and don't think it has anything to do with morals. I think it's completely fine to be bisexual.
Right. I agree with you.
I
but I don't think God exists, which is why it's easy for
Quantum theory is starting to come closer to touching spirituality again, but I treat it like it's a form of physics. Metaphysics are just physics. We're too primitive and traumatized a culture through religion to recognize as something that should be taught to children in school as another higher layer of just physics itself. Like, do this, accomplish that every time. That's what science is. Recognize a pattern. Do I do this to make the pattern reoccur?
Right.
Shed testing. And spirituality is, if I slow my metabolism down, my heart rate comes down, my health improves. What if then I get a sense of what other people are feeling and other things like that?
Exactly.
What if I check with them and it turns out they are feeling those things when I sensed that they were?
Yeah.
This still... I think it all requires research, and without that, it's just an opinion based on an emotion, based on a trauma, up until then.
And that's prayer and meditation. What I was going to say earlier is whether prayer is real, whether it works or not, at the very least, at the end of my life, I have taken a few moments here and there in my life to relax, to slow my metabolism down, to reach out and think some positive thoughts. So at the very, very least,
Well, you're
it's
just
positive
spiritual,
thinking.
Andy. You're just spiritual.
But I pray to Jesus, and I do go to church.
Hey, and I'm a big fan of the title character, just not so certain about the unauthorized biography.
Well, you're talking about Jesus or Andy?
Jesus didn't say write a book about me. He didn't say make a building with my dead. With my.
Come on, we don't know what he said. We don't know what he said.
Why, Andy?
He did tell him to speak, to witness what he has said. So that is writing a book to tell others of my message.
That's different from set up a business.
I tell you, if Jesus lived up to that
That's
now,
different from set up a business.
he'd be all over the.
I let Christians, hardcore Christians, into my life, and I let them in, and
Sure.
I let them quote the Bible to me. So in that sense, I'm reading the Bible. You know, they tell me.
Well, you're
stories
not.
and-
You're not if you're doing it that way.
Well, they're quoting. No, but it's better that way. I'm not going to
That's how
sit at night.
That's how I follow American Idol. Same thing.
Yeah.
Never watched
let
it.
people tell me. Let people tell me, because they'll quote it verbatim and then explain it.
Right.
If I'm sitting at home alone reading it at night, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to digest it. It's not going to. And the Bible is. It's not about the Bible for me. It's really just about God.
Well, when you do it that way, you're missing the best parts of the Bible, the most juiciest, raunchiest, fun,
I know you're
honest parts of the Bible.
No.
If you do it that way,
No,
they're not going to tell you the good parts.
No, I know what you're talking about. The weird, hardcore, the sex stuff, the drug stuff.
Rapey.
No, but I do. I've got some awesome
fucked these
Christians
daughters.
in my friends.
Say again, Jim.
Abraham fucked these daughters.
Oh, he did. He did. And I got to be honest. Based on the description, I don't blame him.
That's not as bad as almost killing his son, though.
No.
You gotta put it all in context. Like the daughters can win all they fucking want.
Are you an atheist?
I'm an atheist, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't believe in anything. I don't believe that. And also, I take offence to when people say there's no atheist in a foxhole or on a sinking ship.
Right. That's not even close.
I would be. I really would be. I wouldn't be on my deathbed thing, because I think the whole idea, if you start saying that there's no atheist in a foxhole, that's because people are scared of dying because they're worried about what's afterwards.
Right.
So any religion you go to has an afterlife, or you reincarnate or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. If they take that away, they take away heaven or whatever afterlife they give. And God created the whole world, and He loves you, and He's brilliant, and He made you, and He made your family, and all that. Mm-hmm. You should still worship Him, even if there wasn't an afterlife. But would people go to church? Would they fuck if there was no afterlife?
Right.
They
yeah.
need that
Yeah,
carrot
yeah.
given to them, and that's why they say that foxhole thing, because people panic on their deathbed. My grandmother was
Yeah, I
terrified
agree.
on her deathbed. Yeah. Terrified of what was going to happen. And I think as an atheist, I won't be, because...
But you don't know, because you've never been right at the,
But I'm confident.
death's door.
Not like
know.
Andy is every weekend.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. This is the thing. You're hanging... You know, Elvis used to wear the cross, the Star of David, the thing, because he didn't want
Just
to be...
to cover his base.
Yeah, he didn't want to not get in on a technicality.
Well, I find that people tell me they're actually looking forward to that day when they have that great time after they're dead, and that's kind of sad to me that they would want to. Not saying people here in this room, I'm just saying that they would want to look forward to that. It's like this world right now is just not good enough.
Are you an atheist?
Yes, I am.
Well, here's the thing. One of the great confusions is to confuse spirituality with religion when history proves them to be sworn enemies and opponents the entire time.
Well, how do you define spirituality?
Spirituality is my search for God. Religion is you are telling me what God looks like, and I just